We do things like songs that are a little, what we call sexy. You can see from the title, it's more of a love album.
Welcome to another week of Manifestations 2020. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Sorry for the little delay. Our special guests will be on a little bit later, so we'll chop it up until our special guests come. I didn't know that my special guest was on a different time level, time frame where they're coming from the central. So we're not bringing you people on the East Coast. We got people all over the world that's going to join in on this show and platform and give you guys great game and have great dialogue and great conversation in the process. So definitely looking forward to our special guest with us later on tonight. They are currently are in a meeting right now, so they're definitely trying to make their way up out that meeting to come join us for tonight's show. So definitely stay around, stay tuned. It's going to be super dope, and we have some real dope questions to ask our guests. Some very great questions that I think a lot of y'all are gonna really like. All right. With that being said, fellas, what's going on? How y'all week was? It's good.
Everything is everything, man. Feeling spry up in here today. You know what I'm saying? Everything is
That's
fantastic. The week went well. Um, I'm here, man. I'm ready to get at these topics, man. These dating and relationship topics just seem to keep coming, man. Everybody has questions, and I feel like we got the answers. So
yeah,
why not?
definitely.
You know what I'm
Pretty
saying?
solid, pretty positive.
Real talk.
Some great things happened this week. Interesting opportunities presenting itself. So
Nice.
year's already been solid so far. Looking to close out on an even higher note than I thought I was going to do it on. So
That's
this is
what's
what it's
up.
about.
That's
Momentum.
what's up.
Every
That's
victory
what's up.
fuels the next victory fuels the next victory. So
Yes.
we just staying open. We just staying positive. We just staying rooted in the work,
Yeah,
and we just let the results speak for itself.
It
definitely.
is.
I saw a video earlier. I was gonna play it too. I said, no, I'm not gonna play it. But it was a video where the instructor was talking about how they had two students. One was a woman and one was a guy, and then they had two more sets of students behind them. So you had them in the front foreground, which is like the girl and the guy, and then the instructor. Then behind them is two guys, and then behind them is two more guys, and they're all on floor mats.
Okay.
And so the instructor is up front, and it was green screen, so this might have happened. Like they recorded the matches, and then they probably added them as a green screen to like talk about the girl and the guy in their match. And while he's talking about the girl and the guy in the match, they're right on screen. The set behind them was two guys. So one guy like grappled the guy from his like I want to say his shorts on the lower end, and they were at grapple with each other, and then all of a sudden the guy ends up throwing the other guy like whoof, and when he threw him, dog, the other dude screamed like a straight bitch, like he just like yelled out ah, and I was like, that shit had me fucking in tears, yo.
Epic.
So when I saw
Epic.
that, I was thinking about Bobby. I was gonna say, hey Bobby, you ever been in in a match or in one of those where your guys just practicing and somebody throws somebody and you just hear a dude yell out like that? Has that ever occurred?
Man, the screaming out like that, no. But we have had a few judo practitioners who've come through.
Hmm,
And once I mean, from the outside looking in, there's all kinds of different things. But once you start getting grappling arts, you find out real quick that wrestling, jujitsu, judo, all this stuff is basically cousins. Basically all the same. It's all wrestling, just different slight variations. But man, I'm not gonna lie, I've never screamed out like that, but nobody throws people like a like if they've been in that for a while, man.
Oof.
yeah.
Those hip tosses, those slams,
It's
they'll
crazy.
they'll knock like half your soul out of you, bro. Like, goddamn. I remember like about a year ago, one of our old instructors,
Yeah.
he was leaving. He went for an opportunity out in Texas, whatever. And we had like a whole thing for him that night, our last class, the last practice with him. And
Hmm,
one of our classmates at the time, I want to say he was a black belt in judo. He was like about a blue belt in jiu-jitsu when he used to keep setting people up with that okido because people see the blue belt and think, okay, cool, he's not that advanced. And next thing he's putting out this Hogwarts Harry Potter witchcraft on you, whatever. And
hmm.
so um our coach was like, all right, you lined up. He said, give me do your worst.
Mhm.
And so he like let the judo guy like flip him like 5 times. And oh my God, the impact on that mat every time we're like, oh. No screaming like a bitch though. He did look like a champ, but yeah, man. So dude probably never been in a fight that called for him to be leaving his feet like that. So the minute his toes weren't touching earth no more,
No, when
that
I
boy went right
said
back to the womb. Mama.
Yeah, yeah.
when I said that guy grappled him, and the way he threw him, he just slung him like, you know how like sometimes
Brock
your
Lesnar, that
your,
boy.
your when when your mother or your father tell you to take out the trash, and you know that you ain't got to walk all the way to the trash can, you heave that shit from a certain distance and it's gonna go in. That's exactly how he heaved them. He heaved them like it was like he knew the trash can was like 50 yards. He was like, "Yeah, I'm cool with that." He just whoosh and threw it.
Hilarious.
You.
Oh my gosh, it was the funniest shit. It
Epic.
was the funniest stuff I've seen, man. I was dying laughing. I said, I gotta ask Bobby if that ever happened to a dude inside
I
the
had a
man.
student back in the day that happened to. It was the inside
Yeah.
joke we had for the longest. This is a small little kid, 7th grader, small little guy, and we
Mhm.
had this big old cotton diesel 8th grader. He was always beginning fights, always getting in trouble. But the small guy, he had a mouth on. He's one of those guys,
Yeah.
Mm.
and so he missed and said something to Buddy, something that he didn't like. So dude picked him up. He tried to take off running, but he grabbed him by his neck and literally tossed him. This is like a big dude. Like he was bigger than me. I'm like 6 feet 220. Dude was had like about an inch or two on me in 8th grade. So this is a big dude.
Mm.
Man.
He picked this little guy up, flung him, and it was serious because you're like, okay, he might get really hurt. But when
Yeah.
he tossed him, Buddy opened his mouth. He's like, "What did I do?" So we were crying, laughing. Man, me and my other teacher I was working with, that stayed being an inside joke. Every time he'd leave past us to go to the next class, we'd always be whispering, "What did I do?" He would get so mad, like beat red, like this story.
Oh god.
He
That
ain't
is
gonna lay that
hilarious.
down.
That is hilarious.
Oh man,
Yeah.
it's
So
priceless, man.
definitely. We got a great show for you tonight. We definitely are going to get into our first topic, which is our trending weekly topics. All right. So we got to kick this off good. So I'm going to kick it off real good because I know a lot of y'all are out here and didn't realize
Excuse me.
that one of our reoccurrence just keeps making the news, right? So, so Kiki Palmer, uh, as you guys know about the whole Kiki Palmer, her boyfriend and Usher situation, and Kiki Palmer is now supposedly starring in the Usher's video Boyfriend. That kicked off a lot of people that was supporting her the first go round and saying it was okay for her to wear the dress, and her boyfriend was acting real sassy and all this other stuff. And then when Kiki revealed that she was going to be in the Usher's video Boyfriend, then a lot of women started looking at Kiki funny style. And
Mm-hmm.
rightfully so, we was telling you guys that that's not a way to move. And when we tell you guys it's not a way to move, it also makes you look very flawed in the future. Because if I'm a guy that's out here in the world, and even if I had admiration for you, or I looked up to you, or I wanted to date you, I would look at you funny style now, because now I feel like you have no sort of respect or any type of loyalty to your man, because you feel like you run around here getting the bag and you have your child, so you good. So anybody that talk to you got to talk to you on your own terms. And that type of mentality really will send you down in a spiral effect. And a lot of times, a lot of women don't recover from that. So after this little debacle, she also his her boyfriend, uh, actually is starting to put I think they said, I don't know if it was a rumor or something, but the tabloid ran with it that he was going to go after custody for the baby and also other financial means as well. So when a lot of people saw that headline come out, then people was like, yo, that's crazy, but I understand where he's coming from, because you got to understand, you got to know who you're dealing with. And certain people, you try certain people and you feel like you could just belittle certain people, and then you don't understand that at the end of the day, there's a law. And even though you feel tough enough to do certain people certain way, the law can be used against you by that person and now put you in a serious situation. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be careful of how you handle people, because people will turn back around when you think you have one up. That person might come back around and then end up having two up on you. So I saw that and I was like, wow, we collectively try to warn people, especially Kiki Palmer, about this situation. And we also try to let guys know that this situation occurs a lot, especially when you guys, when y'all don't go the right way. And I say the right way as far as going through the marriage and relationship, the marriage, in order for you to get the family structure, right? You go and you find your mate, dating, then you go into a relationship, then you go into a proposal, then you get into marriage, then you start working on setting yourself up to now welcome a child in. That's just the structure that um, we were told how to raise, basically bring in a well nucleus family through that type of structure, not going out here and doing it backwards where you having a child with somebody and not being in a structured way, and then now you end up being a single parent. Or as a dude, you're going out here just soiling your raw oats like that, and then on top of that, now you're getting put on child support, and you feel like you don't want to be put on child support, and you want it to work. Well, you didn't go about it the correct way, so you got to take how a person is going to play the cards, because you never set yourself in a structured way to kind of help protect you in that way. It's a difference, and a lot of laws that work for your side as a man when you are in the realms of being married versus not being married, with no entitlement or no type of solid title on you that can help give you more leverage when it comes to your children. So, a lot of times I tell people all the time, when you come in a situation where a lot of these women, they want your child. When Kiki Palmer, when you look at it, everybody's talking about, oh, the guy, he was broke, he was low budget, this and that, he should be happy, and this and all this other stuff. But nobody looked at the form of where Kiki ran away from top billionaires that Steve Harvey tried to put her down with, major quality men that she's in the industry or rub shoulders with, places she can go to and rub shoulders with good quality men. She didn't want that. She didn't want that because her attitude, her stance was, I'm independent. I want somebody who I can control, who I can dictate, and I know don't have leverage to use the system against me. So I have total power. I'm boss chick. That's the pedestal she was, the angle she was coming from. And
Yep.
she did that with a dude who didn't have much. His brother was the one, gaining all the money and stuff like that. He's not a broke dude. He's in the industry. He does make his money, but he's not on the level of Kiki. And that's why a lot of guys, and we talk about this a lot in different spaces, where a lot of guys will hear women say that men are intimidated by them. It's not the fact that they're intimidated by them. It's certain women will go to certain men that they know financially isn't on their level like that, or mentally, is weak-minded enough to take their mental abuse from them. So they go and they seek these men because they have more of a dominant leverage over them, and that is what they want. They want that dominant leverage so that they can always feel as a superior and can also give more of significance and more of understanding to why they have such a dominant and masculine persona, and they don't have to lose it because now they're justified that I have to use it because the guy that I selected is weak-minded. Y'all see him. Y'all see how he act. So it is a secret, low-key way for dominant masculine women to look like that they have a solidified foundation, but in reality, they wear the pants in that relationship and they display it. And then the guys that's with them don't have enough backbone to push back. And when they do, they get ridiculed for it, just like Buddy did when he said, I had a problem with her outfit. A lot of people didn't know that when he did have a problem with the outfit, he also addressed it at home. Nobody talks about that side of it because they sensationalized the part where he put it out on social media. But social media was actually the second time that he acknowledged it, because the first time he acknowledged it privately and it didn't get nowhere. So, sometimes when you say something and nobody acknowledges it, then you go into another level of extreme, which is why he put it up on social media. And that's when all that stuff, the attention came out.
Mm.
So, like I tell you guys got to be very careful about who you give your seeds to, because a lot of these women out here, they don't want a relationship with you. They just want a child. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of guys don't want to deal with women with children, because a lot of women that have children, now their focus is solely on the child. Their energy is on the child, and that child comes first in their life. They might squeeze you in, but their main priority is that child, because now she's going to depend on that forever love from that child and don't have to worry about the love from you. And that's where you have a lot of the disconnect come from. And you have a lot of dialogue where guys feel like, the child comes second to me and this and that. And then we take it out of context because we're not looking at it from different various perspectives, where he's not saying he want to be in front of the child. He wants to be priority over the child. He just wants to be acknowledged and addressed as the man in the household. And most times that is never on that level, because when a woman is in her mindset that all she really wanted was the child and that's what she got, now it's like, hey, if you stay and deal with it, that's on you. If not, you could kick rocks and I'll find somebody who's going to deal with it. And that's why a lot of times a lot of you guys get caught up. And I'm definitely going to talk about this later, because sometimes we get men get into this fuckboy mentality where it ends up getting deadly in a situation as well. And we'll talk about there's an incident about something similar to that, not really on that level, but a lot of that F-boy mentality got to go as well. So there's two sides of the coin, and I just wanted to break that side down when it comes down to this whole Kiki debacle. I'll turn it over to you guys, and now you guys can go ahead and say what you need to say about that.
Hmm. Well, I mean, Kiki Palmer is just a low energy hood rat. It just is what it is. She's going to do this type of thing. You know what I'm saying? She don't have any redeeming values, bro. Like, it just is what it is. You have to expect this. And like you said, and we cannot understate the importance, man, enough of being careful, brothers, with the type of woman that you impregnate. Because once you broke it, you bought it. You
Yeah,
dig?
yeah,
You stuck with that for life. You
mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying? No matter, how much you want to get away from it, whatever the case may be, when you get one of these low energy hood rats knocked up, you stuck with her for life.
Yeah,
You understand? And it's very sad that it had to end up that way. But if he would have done a better job of vetting her
mm-hmm.
and paying attention to what she was saying instead of just, I mean, my guess is he was starstruck. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But like, you know, she ain't no great shakes like that to begin with. So I don't really know what the big deal was, but okay, whatever. If he would have paid attention to who she
Mm.
is, I mean, she wears her low energy on her sleeve.
Yeah.
This is not anything. If you sit down and listen to Keke Palmer talk for 5 minutes, she's gonna say some misandrous bullshit. That's who she
Mm.
is. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? This woman detests men. You know, and even in the Steve Harvey sit down that she had with Steve Harvey, of all people, Steve Harvey gives horrible advice to everybody. This man
Yeah.
actually tried to give her some good advice, tried to
Yeah.
talk some sense into her. Nobody can tell her nothing.
Yeah.
She got all the answers, right? That's why,
Yeah.
you know, she's the age that she is and she still ain't married, you know, because
Yeah.
she got all the answers clearly, you know, and you know, women like that will often say, oh, they don't want to be married, blah, blah, blah. I don't buy that. I think they're copping out. I think that they know that they're not of quality to be chosen. And
Mm.
they know that they just can't hack it. And so,
Yeah.
you know, the sour grapes response is, well, I didn't want to be married anyway. I don't want to be in a
Okay.
relationship anyway. I don't
Yeah.
buy it, bruh. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? But yeah, this is to be expected from a low quality, low energy woman like Keke Palmer. It just is what
Definitely.
it is, man. And more brothers, you we got to get on our vetting game. We got to really start identifying red flags and move into action when we see them. You know,
Yeah.
when a woman says certain things and her behavior is giving us certain signals, all we can think about is the ass. All we can think about is, the sucking the titties or whatever. We got to get past that, bro,
Hmm.
because the penalties far outweigh that little bit of pleasure that you're going to enjoy,
Yeah.
for that few minutes that you're enjoying it. Shout out to Mila Renee. Shout out to brother Amon. What's up, y'all? How's everything? This is a problem, man. Like, because this is a narrative that I'm starting to see over and over.
Yeah.
It's not only with Dude and Kiki, but just regular everyday guys. You know what I'm saying? You know how many dudes I know that that they're doing well in life, everything is great, the climate is wonderful in their personal life. The one
Hmm.
thing that is a problem is they can't stand their baby mama. Their baby mama's always giving them some type of trouble, whatever the case may be.
Hmm.
We just have to be smarter,
Yeah.
because we're not doing ourselves any favors at the end of the day. And then, when you have other women come along who are quality women, they're less inclined to want to deal with you. People think that it's only single mothers that have, this issue where, their kids disqualify them. No,
Hmm.
there's a lot of women that I know, that they have no interest in dealing with single fathers whatsoever. Now that's
Hmm.
their choice. I'm not going to down talk anybody for choosing to deal with someone who has kids or not. You understand what
Hmm.
I'm saying? I'm simply stating it as a fact. There's a whole segment of the dating population that's like, yo, I can't mess with people with kids. And if
Hmm.
they do make the exception to rock with somebody that has a kid, the other parent is still a factor. And if the other parent, is going to be acting up and problematic, it's still a deal breaker. Now, this
Exactly.
particular situation right here, what bothers me the most about it is this low energy hood rat is acting like this other person is not also a parent of this child. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? Like, now she's taking it to another level. I think that's why people are dragging her a little bit, because it's like, okay, now you're gonna go be in a video and just kind of dig up this whole drama again. That's still your child's father. Now, when this
Hmm.
child gets older and this child starts hating your ass, you understand, because you keep, trying to go out of your way to embarrass their father, they might love the hell out of their father. And they see you doing this type of stuff. That's a poor reflection on you.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, you don't go. And the rule is, Broadly speaking, you don't go out of your way to disrespect your baby mama or your baby dad. You don't do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
If a man went out of his way to disrespect his baby mother, the women would be up in arms. They would be losing their shit right now. But since it's a
Exactly.
woman doing it, I mean, they're dragging her for the action, but they're not appalled. They're not clutching their pearls. They ain't got the knives out like they would be if it was a man that
Yeah.
did that. You're just not supposed to cross certain lines. And,
Correct.
this just shows you who she really is, man, at the end of the day.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Bobby, you got
Facts.
your take? Because Major just broke it
Um,
down. Love it.
he broke the game down and put it back together again.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah, I mean, it's at this point, it's just Kiki being Kiki. And what we have to acknowledge is that Kiki is embodying now, and I think she's doing it primarily for likes, for a buzz. But
Mm,
regardless of motivation, the outcome, the results, or the outcome, the results, Kiki is beginning to embrace the Jezebel image or the
mm,
Jezebel persona of this unruly, unmoored woman who acts in a chaotic manner. And it's one that unfortunately has proven itself to be popular and profitable among many women nowadays.
mm,
When you have women that go out there and basically act and live with this perpetual middle finger on their chest, screw men, we don't need men. Um, I don't have to take into consideration my man, my relationship, or the feelings. I just do what I want to do when I feel like it because it makes me happy. And this narcissistic, self centered, unhealthy mindset. And unfortunately, for many women, rightly and wrongly, that serves almost as a spirit animal for them, right? Like
mm,
they rally behind it. Um, and it appeals because it's a very hypnotic and very alluring persona for many women, especially if they feel that they're in a place where they're weak or they don't have a voice or they don't know who they are, they're lost. Many unfortunately find that as a negative source of power for them. They feed off of that, and it's
mm,
like, well, I can't do this, or in many cases, I know better than to do this. But
mm,
go ahead, sis. I'll live vicariously through you, and they kind of get they buzz off of that,
Mm.
and it's very damaging. It's very harmful. But what
mm,
generally happens, the women that go ahead and embody this, it usually doesn't turn out well for them.
mm,
Those ones who end up, with their best years behind them, uh, they can't find any success with men from their peer group because the men remember who they were.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
They try to live it down. They try to turn a new leaf, so to speak. But that image that they so readily and haphazardly branded themselves with all that gusto, it made a very, very, very permanent sear in the minds of men. And so they're like, nah, we know what she about. We ain't fooling with her. And
Mm-hmm.
typically they do with what you're seeing with a lot of these women now, do they try and go for these younger men, the younger dudes from a younger generation who didn't grow up on that. They weren't around or they weren't cognizant like that when she was at her pinnacle. And so they're game goofy. They just see another woman. They're thinking, okay, so she behaves the way we wish the women of our generation did. They don't understand that. Nah, she was the forebear. She paved the trail for the chicks in your generation that are behaving this
Right.
way now.
mm,
And even then, a lot of those dudes, they're not gonna mess with older women like that for long term. These are younger
mm,
men. In some cases, they want families of their own. They want children, whatever. And a woman who's already had her children, she's grandma status, or she's reached menopause, she can't have children. She's on borrowed time, and all she can really be for those younger men is just an experience booster. He's gonna use it to perfect his sex game, his tactics, his sweet talk, whatever. And when he's finally gotten what he needs or it's run its course, he's going to turn on to a woman from his age range, from his peer group.
mm,
And that's the way of these things.
Real talk.
It's no surprise you have women like Vivica A. Fox, you have the Tarajis, you have the Elisa Rays. You can almost plug and play the names at this point, and here they're on their older years. They can't find anybody, and there's a perpetual bipolar shift where, for one period, that's all we love our men, we need our men, they're the biggest advocate of men, and
Mm-hmm.
then once the bipolar switch flips, these men ain't shit. They ain't serious about nothing. They just wanted this, is that, and the third,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when they realize they have no choice but to confront the fact that you screwed up, sis.
Mm.
You made all the wrong choices, and now you've run out of chips. You have no more turns left on the board. You're dead in the water.
Real talk.
Correct. I, I
So,
I totally
this,
agree with that.
yeah, so this is, the sad thing is this is all 100% preventable. This doesn't have to be the fate of any woman out there.
Mm-hmm.
But, and we've spoken about this before, stop pretending that you have infinite time and infinite opportunities. Nobody has this. Men don't have
Mm-hmm.
infinite time and infinite opportunities. Now,
Mm-hmm.
granted, the things that make men valuable to women in the relationships is different than what makes women valuable in relationships. But even men, we do not have infinite time and infinite opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
When you
Real
when
talk.
you get the W, learn when to walk away from the goddamn table.
It
Yeah.
is. Leave the
Leave when
casino.
you have the hot hand. Don't go and try to play it. You win and you doubled your money. Cool. Now you're trying to see if you can triple, quadruple. The luck will run out. It's a given.
Yeah.
Nobody go. You don't beat the house. The house is
Exactly.
undefeated. So
Exactly.
once you get the W, save face and walk out the room. I was telling somebody earlier because he mentioned something about and I meant to send this to you earlier, Ant, but I forgot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But he mentioned that he had a coworker who shared it, and because he typically posts
Mm-hmm.
about different men's issues, whatever, on his page, whatever. And he said that
Mm-hmm.
she had given him permission to go ahead and share her story,
Mm-hmm.
but she made this grave error where basically she had accused of her boyfriend of stealing a significant amount of money. I think it's like $850 from her, and the relationship got accounted, even though he denied it. And 3 months after breaking up, she was she was completely apoplectic because she said she found the money. Apparently, she had stored the money in a drawer, and apparently there was a hole in the back of the drawer. She wasn't aware of it, and
Wow.
it fell through in the back. And the only reason she was even
Wow.
aware of it was that the drawer had broken. And when she pulled the drawer out to go ahead and see if she can fix whatever, she noticed the hole and saw that the money was down there in the envelope with her
Wow.
handwriting, everything. And now she was all messed up. She's like, I gotta apologize, but it's gonna be so bad. She told her friends and family about it. Many of them are on bad terms or have cut off their relationship with him now. So basically, she tainted and sabotaged everything. A 2-year relationship with an otherwise great man, and now she hurt him. She blocked him, whatever. So all of these things that she has to do and untie because she made a poor choice. Now, in her case, there might be some reconciliation there because it was a mistake, but given the circumstances, that can maybe be forgiven. It's a
Mm.
lot of damage that you have to go and unwind. But basically, she's all thrown up because now she has to go and apologize. And she has to eat crow. She went ahead and she went on a whole smear campaign. And now she has to undo her damage. But
Wow.
there's a lot of women who have done considerably worse in terms of their
Mm-hmm.
attitudes with men and everything. And it's not going to be that easy because these men are
Mm-hmm.
not going to forget.
Yeah.
Because you did it once, yeah, you might, have a come to Jesus moment and go in a completely different direction. But if you did it once, we know that it's in you.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
There's no guarantee you're not going to do it again. So you got to be also mindful of the mistakes that you make. All mistakes aren't created equal. There are some mistakes you can make and it's water under the bridge. It's nothing. But
Mm.
some mistakes are a lot harder to undo than others. And you
Exactly.
got to be
Wow.
mindful again. You got to think. You can't act in your emotions. You have to think logically and strategically. I was told a long time ago, never make any decision out of emotion. If you're that upset, if you're that out of sorts, go to sleep. End the day. Don't make any further action decisions on it. Go to sleep. Wake up with
Mm-hmm.
a new mind, with a new spirit, And now that you've had time to sleep, to gather your components and your faculties, now make a decision. Because when you make it in emotion, you can almost guarantee that whatever choice you make, it's going to be the wrong choice.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
Of course.
You're right.
Landing my
But
ATV
now
on that
you now you're talking about being an adult and making
Mm,
rational, linear, logic-based decisions. Oh man. Whoa.
mm.
Who does that?
one. That's the
I
tallest of the
want.
tall orders
I.
right
I'm
there.
I
just
got.
saying.
I got a meme that goes pretty good with what you guys just said, right? So, um,
I saw that. Yeah, that's it.
you saw
That's
it.
it.
Yeah. So modern women at their peak, I don't have to submit or be faithful to any man I'm with because they are all replaceable. I'm a strong, independent, bad bitch. And I call the shots in my relationship because I'm the prize, not them. If they can't deal my bossiness, then I'll just discard them and get another one. Just like what I was saying earlier about Kiki, that same
Hmm.
mentality,
Hmm.
right? Modern women, after they hit the wall, now that I'm old and used up, I can't find any man who I'll put up with my sassiness attitude. All these years I've wasted being an arrogant, masculine boss bitch have let me all alone again.
There you go. There it is.
Uh,
In a nutshell, that's it.
so
You know what I'm
I
saying?
definitely I want to play these two videos and then I'm gonna hand it over to you because I want you guys to see how people can fall off, how you could just spiral out. So I'm gonna play these two videos and then I'm gonna turn it over to you, Major.
Okay.
Doing too fucking much. Literally. I'm going to a fucking shelter. I'm going to get me some help. Once I go get me some help, please don't ask about me. Because y'all don't give a fuck about me. Y'all don't care about me. And with that being said, it's giving fuck my supporter because my supporter, the way how my supporter treating me, is just dead ass wrong. It's just so dead ass wrong. How y'all say that y'all love me and this, that, and the third, and y'all want to see me doing better. Y'all want to see me going to the shelter, but look how y'all treating me. Look how y'all talking to me. Look how y'all in my DM want to like literally just start shit with me. I'm to the point where I do not give a fuck anymore. I don't care.
All right, so that's one. And you guys already know Shamar is a very high profile social media icon.
Uh,
You want to put, and now he has hit rock bottom. And now I want to go to the
I
next
went
one.
to Google, I put Pinky Doll naked, and I click on pictures. And what I see, there's a lot of page. There's a lot of page. You keep swiping and swiping and swiping. It don't stop. It don't stop. And I see all this website. How dare you? You gonna let other people put my face, my body out here doing stuff like that? How dare you? Without asking an ID. Where's the ID terms? Tell me that. What's up? I'm gonna tell you something today. I'm gonna sue all of you. All of you are gonna sue you. I'm gonna sue you. Y'all wanna play with me? You allow other people post Pinky Doll? Really? Cause you know you're about to get paid? Well, guess what? I'm about to get all that money. All that money.
So this Pinky Doll goes on barely comprehensible rant about realizing her nude on OnlyFans content is visible now on
uh,
Google.
Jesus.
Wanted that fast money. Now you're upset that people don't take you serious because there's dozens of videos of you catching like you bobbling on apples. So I just want to read this
Hey
real quick.
yo.
I, I want to read this real quick so that people can understand how you conspire your life into a bad thing because you don't think things through, right? So OnlyFans changed its terms and service. Does this mean I lose rights or control over my own videos? You agreed to grant us a license under all content to perform any act restricted by any intellectual property right, including copyrights in such content for any purpose reasonable related to the provision and the operation of OnlyFans. Such acts include the reproduce, making available, and communicate to the public, display, perform, distribute, translate, and create adaptations or derivative works for your content and otherwise deal in your content. The license which you grant to us under a subsection 10B above is perpetual, non-exclusive, worldwide, royalty-free, sub-licensable, assignable, and transferable by us. This means that the license will continue even after your agreement with us ends and you stop using OnlyFans, that we don't have to pay for the license, and that we can grant a sub-license for your content to someone else and assign and transfer the license to someone else. The license will allow us, for example, to add stickers, text, watermarks to your content to make your content available to other users of OnlyFans, as well as to use your content to other normal operations of OnlyFans. We will never sell your content to other platforms, though we may sell or transfer any license you grant to us in the term service in the event of a sale of the company or its assets to a third party. So when you over here ranting and raving and talking about, I'm gonna sue all of y'all and I'm gonna get y'all money, no, you're not. Because many of you, whether it's phones, whether it's services that you guys take out in your name, whether you're signing up for social media, different platforms, whatever it is, you guys don't read the terms of agreement. You don't go into details and context, so stop lying about it. So when you're sitting here telling people you're going to sue somebody, you look stupid, because at the end of the day, I just read to you, these were the terms that you agreed to, that you overlooked because you were so fast-ass to get that cash for selling and showing your body parts. See? And you spiraled in the long run. So I'm definitely going to hand it over to you, Major, and you can work with that.
Man, so much material. I don't even know where to start. I mean, first of all, I'd like to correct you. You understand, Anthony, because you got to say it right. She went to search on Google and she found all her pictures of her ass. She went to search Google. You dig? Listen, half the humor in that shit was trying to listen to this chick get through a sentence. What? What is she talking about? I thought Young Miami didn't know how to talk. Bruh, really? Yo, I'm just cracking the hell up trying to listen to. I needed a translator to understand what she was even trying to say to begin with. But the larger point in that particular scenario is that this person coming in, you said, oh, you're going to make yourself look stupid. Clearly, this person doesn't mind looking stupid. It's what she does professionally.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like she looks stupid for a living. For you to get your dumb ass out there in the first place and wallpaper the internet with your ass, this tells me, how much of a low quality piece of shit you are. So, you get on here, you want to be all angry at the world because of some dumb shit that you did because you can barely read, and your comprehension skills are low. Cry me a river. Okay, so what? You understand what I'm saying? You should have done better for yourself. You should have made better choices. I mean, you read the contract, for crying out loud. The only thing that it doesn't say is that you need to sign in blood on this dotted line and your soul will go to the devil afterwards. That's the only thing it doesn't say. Who signs a contract like that for any reason? And if you do sign a contract like that, you better be very careful with the content that you put up. Because they're telling you in no uncertain terms, you ain't got no rights after you put that shit on our platform.
Correct.
You dig? So
Yeah.
another dumbass getting dumbasses get, the treatment that dumbasses get. That it just is what it is.
Yeah.
This other dumbass, what's
Yeah.
his name? Twan, or what is it? What's his name?
Shamar. Shamar.
Shamar, that
Oh,
guy.
Shimon.
Yeah.
Nigga, what are your fans supposed to do for you? Your supporters. Nigga, what they supposed to do for you? What are they supposed to do? Dumb nigga? What are they supposed to do? Just think about, let's stop here. You understand? You got all these wimps. Billy Porter's another wimp. Came out a couple weeks ago whining about how he had to sell his house, this, that, and the
Yeah.
third, blah, blah, blah. Oh, Lord, it's so terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, what is we gonna do? Somebody help me. This is what happens when you lack manhood training.
Mm-hmm.
You out here, you spend your whole life trying to emulate the actions of a woman. And then when
Mm-hmm.
something happens to you and you a man out here, you're supposed to figure it out and take care of yourself. You out here looking stupid, acting like somebody owes you something. You were supposed to have that taken care of, bruh. And as a
Yeah.
man, nobody wants to hear you whine.
Yeah.
Nobody,
Period.
including your supporters. Nobody wants to hear you whine because you're still a
Yeah.
man.
Correct.
No matter how much you may try to act different, no matter how much you may try to be different and walk with this switch and this, that, and the third, and you call yourself one of the girls, you're a man.
Yeah.
And this was your man wake up call. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody's coming to
Mm-hmm.
save you. And look, my heart goes out to anybody who's experiencing hard times, anybody who's homeless. You understand what I'm saying? That's not cool. I don't wish that on anybody.
Yeah.
But at the same time, nigga, figure it out.
Yeah.
You live in this bubble on social media where, people blow your head up and make you feel like you're more than you are. They make you
Yeah.
feel like they love you and you buy into it. You understand what I'm saying? These people don't
Yeah.
love you. They don't care about you. They don't know you. But
Exactly.
unfortunately, social media has become like this hub for a lot of people who've been nobodies all their life. Billy Porter
Exactly.
is a talentless hack. That's the long and short of it. This other guy, I can't even remember his name. Shamar.
Hey, shout out to Dude Stevie.
This other
Yeah.
Anubis TV,
He
and
said
that's my guy right there.
he
That's
said he
my
found
guy.
his pronouns don't pay.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
You dig? He
Yeah.
found out his pronouns don't pay. You damn right. All that
that's
shit is
tough.
made up. All of
Yeah.
it. All of it. There is no such thing as a man who wakes up one day and feels like a woman, therefore he is a woman. It does not exist. Period. And there is no such thing as these hundreds of millions of people that follow you that don't know the first damn thing about you, that so-called love you and are going to put your well-being and your livelihood before their own. People got their own problems, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel bad for the guy, but I mean, what is anyone supposed to do for you exactly, bro?
Yeah.
This is why we have this platform. This is why we have these conversations, because I know other guys who in a couple of months they're going to be him. I know
Yeah.
people like that. I know people in my own family like that. A couple
Yeah.
months from now, they're going to be him. What you going
Mm-hmm.
to do? How you
Yeah.
going to tighten yourself up so that you can avoid that? You have to have the foresight to be able to see the danger coming and prepare
Exactly.
yourself for it. Look, when I was working, I told y'all a couple weeks ago, I was working at this company. I was working there for 12 years and change. And I looked around one day and I was like, man, this is nice. It's sweet. I done got promoted a few times. My salary done went up. But man,
Mm-hmm.
if I got fired tomorrow, I'd be ass out and have to start all over again.
Mm-hmm.
That did not sit well with me. I'm mad that it
Yeah.
took me 12 years to realize it. You
Yeah.
understand? But what did I do? I went down to HR, filled out that paperwork for tuition reimbursement, hopped my happy ass back in classes, You understand what I'm saying? Okay, boom, got the pens and pencils, got down to business, to quote Dr. Dre. Boom. All right, got my degree, got my experience in IT. Okay, so if I get fired, and I did end up getting fired, right?
Mhm.
Strangely enough, if I end up getting fired, I'm not starting all over again. I'm not on my ass again. I'm
Yeah.
going to start where I am. So
Hmm.
let's say I was making $80,000 a year. Well, I'm going to start making about that or better. I don't have to go back to $15 an hour. We had to
Hmm.
be able to have the foresight to see these, as black men especially, to see these type of pitfalls and traps up the road so that we can insulate ourselves against them, not if, but when they happen. So hopefully that game is useful to somebody out there, because it was useful to me. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And we need to start thinking in that capacity. You got all this, all this money, and you want to go buy you some Dior heels and a goddamn, uh, what you call a Birkin bag. I'm talking about these two gentlemen that I was just talking about. You want to go buy you
Hmm.
some Dior heels and a Birkin bag, or whatever the case may be, when you should be saving up, when you should be planning for what your next move is, and putting some
Hmm.
money towards, having a viable product that you can sell on the market. You understand what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Instead of that, you focus on bullshit. And so
Yeah.
this is where you end up. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Definitely. Um, you know, then that's real talk, man. You said a lot that is very helpful, because especially the direction that we're going in, you can't be too comfortable in a world where they are always sitting in think tanks trying to figure out ways to shift and disrupt everything you got going good for yourself. Just a couple years back, a lot of people started gaining money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of black people became millionaires underneath the Trump era, right? And now you have Biden in office, and now all of a sudden you got the inflation, you got this and all this. And like I said, this isn't a political thing. I'm just showing you the change of how 2 years could just shift, and you need to shift along with it. So you got everything going, and now they're about to go into um, what it is. The transaction is going to be more digital, right?
Digital,
So
yeah.
we're on the digital currency. So when you have when they shifting towards digital, you never know what the reset might be. You know what I'm saying? Might
Right.
be a reset coming with that.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta always, as men, we gotta be the head whole, um, and the leaders to know that you are in charge of your tribe, in charge of your family, in charge of your household, your wife, your spouse, your children. You got to be the one that is on the front run of everything to make sure that everybody under your realm is going to succeed. So you got to be sharp. You got to be on point. You got to do the research. You got to make sure that when you say let's go, everybody's packed up and they ready to go, following your lead. That's the type of mentality that you need to have from here on out. If you don't have it, work on it. It's never too late, but you don't want stuff to crumble down and then you trying to figure stuff out in the midst of the action. And that's a big issue within the Black society, is that we're not pre-active, we're post-active. And when we're post-active, the damage is already done. So there's minor damage control you can do with that. But if you're pre-active, you can do a lot more damage control because it hasn't occurred yet, but you also have solutions and different tactics, in your realms to stop it or to prevent it or to maneuver away from it if that was to happen. So we got to get more into the preventative way. We got to start thinking about stuff way ahead of time, and that's why we always talk about on this platform that when you're dealing with life, you're dealing with a chessboard. And if you know in chess, you have to be multiple moves ahead of your opponent in order for you to have a successful chance of winning the game. Winning the game of life, you have to be moves way a lot of moves ahead of your opponent. So that's the thing that you have to do. You have to align yourself up with that and put yourself in that position to be that dominant. So like I said, Major really broke it down, and I really wanted to add on top of that because I think that is so much valuable information, especially moving forward to where we're going. All right, so I do want to say that we have a problem when it comes to certain women, right? There's certain women that they can mean good for you, but in one instant, if she does something that is off the wall, that whole situation can go all the way left. And not only would it go all the way left, it also puts your dude in a bad position. And I know a lot of times Black women always talk about, Black men don't protect them. But we never talk about the Black men that die, that risk their lives, that be in imminent danger because a lot of times Black women put their men in that situation. Some of them have to just step up in the moment, and sometimes stepping up in the moment can cost them their lives, but we don't hail them as heroes in the process of that. There's a lot of brothers that's underneath the ground right now because they did step up to protect their woman. There's a lot of brothers that's in jail because they did step up to protect the Black woman or their woman. you know. And I saw this situation, and I couldn't play the video because the video had music on it. But uh, so what happened was this Black woman ends up gambling, right? So I don't know if you guys ever been down South Beach. I know South Beach have a lot of these 3-card Monty type dudes. Um, and what it is they'll have like either 3 cards, you got to select a card that they tell you to select, or they have like 3 nutshells and they have a ball underneath them, or they have a cup with a ball underneath them, and they'll, switch it around in different uh, motions to confuse you. So when they tell you to select the cup, you have to choose the right one with the ball in order to win, or not, you lose. So she ended up doing it. I guess she was intoxicated and she wanted to go out there, and she ended up having a Rolex watch on, and she gambled it with one of those uh, three card Monty type dudes on the side of the street.
Wow.
And so woman lose her Rolex street gambling and then attacks her boyfriend for not getting it back for her. Don't you dare hold me back, bitch. You better step up to this nigga and get it back. And in the video, she was trying to go into the guy's pocket to get her watch back. And the guy is looking at the boyfriend like, dude, you better handle your girl because that's not how this goes. And I just thought it was very disrespectful the way she is forcing him to go get something that you lost
Right.
on your own will, and now you put your dude in a bad situation, and we got to make sure that we're not doing this, because at the end of the day, that's somebody's brother, that's somebody's son,
Yep.
that might be somebody's uncle, that's somebody's child, that's somebody's family member. Somebody is he's accounted for some family member out there. And you got to make sure, just like you want him to protect you and make it home for the next day, you got to do that same thing for your man as well. And I think a lot of times, a lot of women, and this is why I don't really, condone people being intoxicated, because a lot of times people don't know their levels. And then some people go over their levels, and then they just be this belligerent buffoon. And it becomes dangerous, and then you put everybody's livelihood in danger when you end up being that in that way. And Yes, so this is something that I think is very serious that we definitely need to address, and you gotta hold yourself accountable. And sisters, y'all out here doing, y'all out here knowing that your homegirl is out here doing this. You gotta be the one to step up and check your homegirl. We need
Mm-hmm.
more women to check their homegirl and be like, "Yo, sis, that ain't how it go. That's not how it relates." I think we had a video that we had played. Some episodes way back, and it was a woman that was talking about that. Don't put your man in a situation of danger. And now you have this situation right here, which he should never have been in the first place. She should have never put this man in this position because it could have went real bad real quick when she end up trying to get in this man's pocket to take the watch back. Rolex is very expensive, and some guys out here that really don't care about life will kill you over a watch like that. So it could have got fatal. You know, thank God it didn't, but it could have gotten fatal. So I just wanted to share that with you guys real quick. You guys have anything to say about that?
Man, definitely. Bob, what you got? What you got? You want to go first?
There are so many men,
Mm.
so many brothers right now that are dead
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
or are critically injured. I'm talking about paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
They they might be missing parts of their brain. There's cranium damage. They're taking lung damage. They're missing organs, whatever. There's so many brothers that are seriously been damaged, non-repairable stuff, or it's multiple surgeries, a long road to recovery, or dead. I'm
yeah,
not even worried about the incarceration part, just dead or in a significantly debilitated physical state right now because of bullshit just like that.
yeah,
I look, and if this makes it to Buddy, if he's listening, if he's got a homeboy or a family member that's hearing this right now, and anything gets taken away from this right now, what I got to say is this: get rid of that broad.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
ASAP.
Yep.
That broad is death. She is a plague. She will cost you your life. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yeah,
Real talk.
Now, those
exactly.
dudes, I don't know who those dudes were that were running those games, but they do run those games on a regular basis down in that place, so they're probably regulars in the area. They
Yeah,
probably want to be able to come back, and based on those police, they probably have either relationship where they know where the cops are going to be at, or they have a good system set up where where they're able to operate over there and just do their thing, make the little change or whatever, and get gone. So they're not trying to blow it up because when the block is hot, can't nobody make nothing move. You can't do nothing. So
Right.
it's in their best
mm,
interest for business purposes to keep things flowing and going for the most part. And I can imagine if they had enough sense to go ahead and not just react, but to attempt to enroll Buddy A, handle your woman like that instead of just responding, then it shows that there's some level of intelligence going on, that they're not just straight thugged out where they're just ready to get a pop and drop of a dime.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Which you sort of have to be the kind of, because those kind of games, those aren't your regular kind of cons or finesses like that, right?
Exactly.
That's a lot of management going on where it's you finesse the mark, but you let them win a
Mm,
little bit as well. Let them get a couple wins, boost their confidence. If they leave before you sink your fangs into them, then it is what it is. Charge of the game. But ultimately, you kind of
mm,
feed them a little rope, and once they start getting froggy, like this chick did, then you go ahead and you you pull the rod and pull the fish up on the shore, or whatever.
Real
yeah,
talk.
But a chick like this will get you killed. And this is what
ASAP.
we talk about when we talk about this whole concept of protection and rescue and everything else. You'll see women fight and talk reckless with each other, and then go and slap fight and whatever, and drag hair and do all kind of nonsense, whatever. And that's what happens. You see about 1 million of those fights on YouTube, World Star Hip Hop, all the time.
Yeah.
When men get in each other's face,
Yeah.
when Ant gets in Major's face, when Major gets in my face, when I get in Ant's face, when we get in Anubis's face or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
men understand that this ain't two chicks squaring off. But
Nah,
when two men or more men get into it, it has been understood, it's a foregone conclusion that somebody might not walk away from this alive.
Exactly.
real talk.
Especially if there's nobody around to intervene or step in when things get out of control. Once that testosterone and that adrenaline get to pumping,
Yeah.
there is no telling how this is gonna end.
It's not a game.
Correct. Correct.
It's not a game, and,
It's not
and
a
and
game.
it's a whole lot more severe consequence for us to even legally, because law enforcement will go a whole lot easier on two women fighting, or even a woman squaring off on a dude, than there will be for two dudes getting a popping with each other. So the stakes are high when
Hmm.
men get into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Women don't comprehend that. They
Correct.
don't
Nah.
have to comprehend that because that's not the life that I wouldn't expect them to. Some women do. Usually, those are the ones
Correct.
that have sons or who have husbands or men in their life that they're close with that talk to them. But that's not their life experience. So why would a woman understand that?
Right.
Yeah. Correct.
For a woman to go and enlist, talk about, hey, go, you need to get my Rolex back, whatever. First off, that's a major violation. Nobody robbed you. Nobody put a stick up to your head or whatever. You
True.
chose to engage in this, and if you won big time, hey, it would have been wonderful. There was going to be no, well, here's the money back. I just want to play the game. No, you would have walked off. I
Yeah.
won fair and square. They won according to the rules of the game, fair and square, at least on the
Mm-hmm.
front end.
Right.
You can't prove you were conned or finessed, and even if you can, what you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
You lost the Rolex. You walk away with your tail between your legs. You learn a valuable lesson. Talk about, oh, I'm gonna take my piece back. You ain't gonna take that from me.
Yeah.
And especially when you're not on home turf, trust and believe. If things really went sour, I'm positive they weren't going to be the ones on the losing end of that. They had something in place right there for your ass.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Real talk.
A
Look,
woman
man.
who can't control herself, whether she's under the influence or not, she's a liability to herself first and foremost, and the people around her. You let those types go, and you do not look back. As
Yeah.
a man, you need to be wise enough to recognize the liability up front. And if you weren't that savvy in the beginning, once you realize this was on your hands, you need
Mm-hmm.
to jettison her.
Exactly.
Brothers have lost scholarships, they've lost careers with high paying jobs, they've lost family and friends, they lost their freedom. All kind of L's they've taken behind women like that who are gonna go on about their lives like ain't nothing happened. It's gonna be on to the
Oh
next
Exactly.
one.
yes. Oh yes. They're gonna be
Exactly.
happy.
She'll boo-hoo cry for you the first few months or whatever. He was such a good man.
First few weeks. First
And
few
then
weeks.
as soon as the next dude that comes along that gets a cuckoo wet,
Yep.
bye,
Yeah.
gone.
That's it.
Don't do it to yourself. That's all the warning I got because again, this happens far too often. And this 2023 ain't nothing new under the sun. As men, we've got to be a lot smarter than this.
Hmm.
We
Yeah.
have to.
Bro, you said
Go
it
ahead,
all,
Major.
man. You said it all. Listen. Um, like you said, the thing that bothers me the most is that these type of things tend to get very, very serious very quickly. She could have
Mm-hmm.
literally got this man killed. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I would have walked off and left her right there. But that's just
Yeah.
me. I'm see. This the thing. As men, we always want to be so politically correct. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Like I'm gonna tell you. You know, I've gotten a lot of flack for being an asshole in the past because I do things like that. If I see you getting out of pocket,
Mm-hmm.
your ass gotta go. I remember I was driving. This was a long time ago. This was when I was in my early 20s, right?
Yeah.
My ex girl, not even a girlfriend, just a chick I was dating. She was just jawing and going off and getting slick at the mouth, and I was like, "Hey, man, you need to chill. You getting disrespectful, and This ain't gonna end well for you. You know what I'm saying? You need to chill.
Mm-hmm.
She kept going, kept going, kept going. I pulled my car over in the rain and put her ass out. And people will tell me, "Oh, you an asshole. I don't believe you did that. You did that, Major." What's the
Yeah.
alternative? Because most of the time when a woman keep jawing at you like that, and she's starting to get way outside of the boundaries of acting normal, and whatever the case may be, she's borderline violent. She's saying all kinds of crazy things. She might put her hands on you next. And
Yeah.
she puts hands on me, and then I whack the shit out of her. Okay, now I'm wrong. Now I got a
Correct.
whole other set of problems. I feel like it's smarter to neutralize the threat earlier. If
Yeah.
I get called an asshole, so be it. You
Yeah.
understand? But you're not going to push me to that point. You understand what I'm
Correct.
saying? You're not going to push me to that point where I'm going to get myself in trouble. I'm going to jeopardize myself, my well-being, my freedom, whatever the case may be, on account of you acting stupid. You
Yeah.
have that little restraint, that little self-control. I'm gonna put your ass out. I've gotten up when I think I told you all the story about the time I was on the date. The girl said something real disrespectful and nasty. I got up, threw the money in her face, and walked out.
Yeah.
I will leave your ass right there with no pressure. I won't bat an eyelash. You understand what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
again, people say, whatever they say, but you can't say that I hit no woman.
Yeah.
You can't say that, I abused her, whatever the case may be. No, I removed myself from that situation. And that's how you got to be when you're dealing with a moron like this. You
Yeah.
understand? Like, what? Okay, let's say that this guy did go and, you know, fight for her honor or whatever she thinks that was and try to get her Rolex back,
Yeah.
which the other guy won fair and square, by the way. Okay, well, you go and attack this man. If he has a gun, he has every right to shoot and kill you. And
Period.
you don't even have a leg to stand on because you lost it in some bullshit street gambling scheme.
Yeah.
He didn't steal it from you. You lost it. So
Could
Yeah.
have been rigged,
he
but you
loses
can't
his
prove it.
life. Huh?
Could have been rigged, but you can't prove it.
Could have been rigged, but you can't prove it.
Correct.
You put yourself in that situation. I mean, he lost his life. I'm just saying, if it played out the other way, he would have lost his life and you still wouldn't even had a recourse after that. It's a lose, lose, lose situation. And I'll take it even further than that. Again, this goes back to vetting. Why are you even out with a female who thinks like this in the first place?
Correct.
Why are you dealing with this person? Why are you even dating this person? This person, their mentality, they're not particularly intelligent, clearly. Why would you bet a Rolex? A Rolex. This watch is $10,000 or better. Most Rolexes are 10 racks and up, 10, 15 racks and up. You gonna bet a Rolex in a damn street gambling game or anything in a street gambling game. Really? You know what I'm saying? If I was with my lady, my wife, and somebody even approached us like that, you know what I'm saying? First of all, she wouldn't go gambling nothing at all unless she spoke to me first and we agreed on it. See, this is where you go back to, you want to be protected, but you don't have the wherewithal to even put yourself in the right setting to be protected. You're so stupid that, you let your emotions get the best of you and you put yourself into a very precarious situation. And then you expect somebody to come rescue you. No, there's a difference between protection and rescue. And this fool put herself in that position, and now you want somebody to come rescue you from the error of your poor decision making. It's really quite honestly how a lot of women live their lives, and they want a man to come and save them from the errors of their poor decision making. No, you need to make better decisions. And if you can't explain, if you can't demonstrate that you're able to make logical adult decisions, then you don't need to be with a logical adult man. He
Yeah.
shouldn't have been there
So
with her sorry ass to begin with. You don't date women like that. You sure as hell don't go out with them in public. Wow. That's unfortunate. That's a major L. Major L. But
yeah,
that's why we're here. You know what I'm saying? Give some of these game goofy cats some game and hope, that they can avoid situations like this. That's totally uncalled for and it was totally unavoidable. Leave the trash outside.
exactly.
Just
Yeah.
saying. Just saying. God damn.
Got to be very careful with, like Major said, you got to be careful of who you're dealing with. You got to vet them correctly. Make sure that you're doing a thorough check because, you know, imagine you would have got married to her and then she would have did that. That would have been stuck in a situation like, golly, you know? So it's sometimes you get the signs way ahead of time. And don't hesitate to leave up out of there, get up out of there.
Yep.
Um,
And don't
you
be
wait,
afraid, man. Wherever you
yeah,
at,
you
if it
wait a
starts to
long,
get too much, don't matter. You gotta
exactly.
put ass out your car in the rain in the middle of the expressway,
Ultimate
so be it.
facts. You
We
know,
hate to do
Exactly.
that,
the
but
problem with a lot of men is, I'm sorry to cut you off, but the problem
yeah,
with a lot of men is it's this conditioning that we've been subjected to from childhood. I fully, and this is a little nuance. I don't want no one trying to misquote me or take me out of context, so I'm making
yeah,
it abundantly clear. I said what I said. Don't try to tack nothing on. I don't need no riders. I don't need no little sticky notes or post-it notes tacked on. I said what the hell I said.
yeah.
We can't control the way that we were brought up as boys, but as men, we need to divorce ourselves starting now, starting 5 minutes ago. In fact, not even now. That's too late. 5 minutes ago. If you can do it earlier than that, do it. Divorce ourselves from trying to live up to other people's idea of a good man. Because for many people, a good man is someone that's deemed nice, says yes all the time,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
goes
Mm-hmm.
out of their way for them, is always helpful to them, does what's in their best interest, and if it so happens to also benefit you, yay. If it costs you to take an L in the process, oh well. But as long as they're benefiting from you, no.
Mm-hmm.
Be a good man according to your values and your morals. Now,
Right.
for the most part, people's morals and values, they tend to be different, they tend to change. But this is about being true to yourself. The
Yeah.
reason why you have a lot of these dudes that turn up angry, these nice guys, quote unquote, well, a perfect example, but the reason why a lot of these nice guys and these good guys end up angry, going on these rants, becoming these violent dudes, is because they keep trying to play the game the way others have told them they need to play.
Mm-hmm.
And when it doesn't work, when they do not get the benefits that they were taught or what they were, in so many words, promised were going to come their way, they feel jaded, they feel misled, and they reach a breaking point
Oh,
because we're human beings. Everybody has their own breaking point. Some people you can abuse them and mistreat them for years and years and years and years, nothing ever happens. Some
Mm-hmm.
people you only need one good time and that's it. Most people fall somewhere in the middle, and none of us can tell when our breaking point is going to arrive. None of us can.
True.
So what you need to do is you need to protect yourself by looking out for your own best interest. Be a good man, but on your terms. Sometimes that's going to mean telling people no.
True. True.
Sometimes that means I can't do this for you, or just no, I'm not going to do it.
yes,
Why not? Are you busy or occupied? No, I just don't feel like doing it. And that doesn't
exactly.
make you any less of a good person. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make you any less of a kind person. Because I told you no today does not mean I'll tell you no tomorrow. But today the answer is no. Today I
Yes,
am not going to do anything for you. Check with me in a week. It might change.
Correct.
Like, learn to be a good man on your own terms, so you don't feel beholden to dealing with people like this and burdening yourself and overburdening yourself.
True. All true.
That's what's up. So, as you guys can see, I was in the background texting. Like I said, we have a special guest that is on a different time coast than we are over here. Like I said, we're going to have so many people from all over the world. So, just trying to get the level of making sure that our time lines up with everything they have in their schedule. But our dope brother is with us right now. And I want to introduce him
Hey,
into the room. With no further ado, I'm going to get my boy in here, Mr. Lamonte Roberson. What's going on, O?
What's good? What's good?
What's
Everything
happening?
good?
Hey, listen,
Yeah.
man, I can't tell you how excited I am to be a part of this conversation tonight. I know I'm in good company, so it's about to be lit. And so shout out to the fellas in the building. It is good to see you. Always good to be a part of your conversations, and always good to be in good company. So thank you for having me. I do apologize. I had a little technical difficulties there for a minute. I was a little nervous for a minute. We was in the ring fighting for a minute, but we made it through. So I'm glad to be here.
Yes, man. We're glad to have you here. And for a lot of you guys that don't know, me and O, we were on Clubhouse. So a lot of y'all, I'm not sure if a lot of people even still know about it, because it's like mainstream but kind of underground, because a lot of people still ain't caught on to it. But we were like one of the original people when it first launched to be on Clubhouse. And we were in a couple of rooms together. And one of the rooms that we were in, we were basically giving women advice on basically how what they were doing wrong, or questions that they wanted answered from a male's perspective. And a lot of women really enjoyed what we had to say, even brothers too. And I know O got a real large following off of being on Clubhouse. I had kind of veered off of it because certain rooms were just getting real egotistical and things like that. But he always going over there doing great work, man. And I really appreciate that, brother. We exchanged, contacts, and I stayed in contact with him. And I was like, it'd be very dope to get this brother on the show and give some great gems, So if you guys don't know, if y'all didn't read the flyer, that Lamonte is a MSW. He's a profound author, and he also is a relationship coach, right? Am I saying that right? Oh, can you hear me? Oh,
brother, you on mute.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, man, you hit the nail on the head. It's been a long time since we talked, but like I said, I'm happy to be here. I am Lamonte Roberson. I am a trained mental health professional. I am the published author of one book entitled Love Nuggets, and I am a love and relationship coach, and working in the love and relationship coach specifically and especially among Black and brown couples. So you hit the nail on the head.
Definitely, man. I'm just excited to have you on here. I was like, when he was like, "Oh, I'm having technical difficulties," I was like, "Oh no," because I wanted people to see how dope you are and what you have so much for us. So just give us a basic synopsis of what you're doing, your practices, and basically just brief. We're gonna get into at the end of it to do it again, but I just want people to right now grasp how they can contact you, how can they find you on social media, and basically just give them a gist of everything you do in little details, and then we could go ahead and go more into a more converse dialogue.
Well, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Listen, so I do a lot of things, so it's gonna be a little difficult to give you the gist of what I do, but I can talk a little bit about the things that I do. I am a sought after speaker. I just recently did a conference in West Palm Beach, Florida for mental health, talking about the issues and challenges in Black communities when it comes to suicide. And so I am a sought after speaker, and I invite anyone who is seeking to reach out to me for a speaking engagement. You can do so in two ways. The best way is to email me, and you can email me at mr.roberson my last name, which is unfortunately not spelled properly on the screen here, but it's ROBERSON 01. That's Mr. Roberson 01 at yahoo.com. The easy way that most people reach out to me is on Instagram. You can follow me and reach me on Instagram at OLR Speaks. That's at OLR Speaks. And I follow up on Instagram fairly quickly. So that's the best way to reach me. I'm a sought after speaker. I am the published author of one book. The book is entitled Love Nuggets. Here's a picture of it here. The book is entitled Love Nuggets. You can reach out to me on Instagram if you want a signed copy of it with a little love letter from me. Or you can also find it on Amazon. You can find it on Amazon. So I'm doing a number of different things. I'm also the owner of a candle company. You can also purchase a candle along with the book. It is the beginning of a love basket for my brothers when they're trying to do their thing. And for couples, couples who are seeking to keep things exciting and fun, you can also reach out to me for some candles. There is one that goes with the book, and there's also some candles that have beautiful, loving affirmations to Black women. So that is another thing that I'm doing. The last thing I'll share is I am also working in the love and relationship space. So individuals and couples can reach out to me and sit down and have a conversation with me that allows them to process things that are going really well, build on those strengths, and also process some things that are really challenging them, that are causing them to have some setbacks and some difficulties. And my goal is to partner with them to process the things that are they are being challenged by, and allow them to have resources and a coach that can encourage them in areas where they are being challenged.
All right, that's what's up, man.
Oh.
Like you said, he gave you all this information. Before we dive into it, because I haven't been on the platform over there, are you still currently on Clubhouse every now and then, or even on there more often?
So I'm gonna be fully transparent. I actually went through a transition in my contact information where my number is no longer the same, and unfortunately, Clubhouse and the administrators of Clubhouse have not figured out a way to navigate this challenge. So when you set up an account with your phone number, if you change your phone number in order to log back in order to sign back into the app, it requires that you have that same number. And I no longer have that number. So unfortunately, I haven't been on Clubhouse in a while. But I think when things kind of slowed down for me with Clubhouse, it was the ending part of last year. So I haven't been on this year.
Got you. So I'm in the same boat as you. So definitely, I have my two great fellas with me. We do this show every Sunday. We got Bobby Drake and Major Gage, and some phenomenal dudes. And I know they got some questions that they might want to ask you. So you guys want to pop off with the questions, or you guys want me to go and ask him some questions? It's up to you guys.
I'll set it off, man. I mean, my thing is this. First of all, what's going on, brother? Greetings. Glad to have you here.
Greetings to you, sir.
Yes, sir. My question is this, man. Because I see that in the dating and relationship realm, to me, there's kind of one problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we can resolve this problem, we can handle all the other sub issues. People are not willing to take accountability for what it is they're screwing up on and make meaningful change. Really, at the end of the day, that's just what it is. People are so stubborn and set in their ways. In your experience, what has been, the technique that you use, or the way that you go about getting people to be accountable for their actions? Listen to what the other side has to say, take accountability and ownership, and then be willing to make meaningful change. That seems to be like the hardest thing in the world to accomplish.
So let me start by saying this. I agree with your perspective to this extent. I think that people are having a difficulty with taking responsibility for the part that they play in the downfall of relationships. And as you say, having a difficulty being held accountable. And I think that is a truth, but there's a deeper rooted difficulty that people are facing. And that difficulty is something that is spanning throughout love and relationship, and it's showing up in a number of areas. And I think that the deeper rooted issue is fear.
Okay.
I would argue or suggest that millennials, those of us who are 40 and younger, 35 and younger, we are struggling with an extreme fear. And that fear shows up in a number of areas. When we're talking about taking responsibility or being held accountability, the fear that I'm finding that a lot of people are struggling with is the fear of discovering that something is wrong with them, or the fear of discovering that they, in fact, are much different from their perspective of themselves, and then figuring out how to navigate that. The truth of the matter is, each of us has a perspective of ourselves. For some of us, it is very good. At times, it is grandiose, and we are a little delusional. We've all met some people like that.
Mm-hmm.
At the opposite extreme, a lot of times, especially among Black and brown people, there is a very negative perspective or view of ourselves that leads to low self-esteem, low confidence, sadness of mood, and depression. And so one of the techniques that I really seek to do is to find a medium ground, find an even level playing ground, and address root causes like fear. If we can address fear, we can address a number of the issues that are going on in love and relationship in our community. We can address this lack of accountability that you're describing. We can address this unwillingness to take responsibility for our actions, which, if we keep it a buck, is often found among Black men, especially when we talk about having children. We can address deeper rooted issues such as lack of loyalty and faithfulness, because that often is rooted in fear. Okay, if I'm about to be with this one woman the rest of my life,
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of people, there's a fear attached to that. A fear of losing out on other great women, a fear of that woman changing and not doing the things that she said in the beginning, a fear of her body changing and no longer being attracted to her. There's a lot of fears that are associated with the challenges that we're facing. And so once more, I would really seek to address the deeper rooted issue of what you're describing, and that is a fear of self-discovery.
Okay. Heavy. And yeah, you're probably right about that, brother, because when you start talking to these people, they deflect into you're talking to them about this particular thing that we just talked about and described. They deflect into every other possible thing.
Yeah.
And they never actually, because we know that the issue is usually within themselves somewhere. We know that. Those of us that, are looking at things with our third eye, we can tell that the issue lies within, but they deflect into every other external thing possible.
Sure.
And they never make any type of issue to do some introspection and try to address what the real issue might be. So yeah, I hear you on that.
Yeah. I think that it is actually, which that last word you use is so powerful, introspection. Mm-hmm. Introspection is really, really intimidating and can be incredibly scary because it forces you, true introspection requires you to turn off some of our favorite artists. We got to turn off Waka Flocka and 2 Chainz.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True introspection requires us to turn off Snowfall. We got to turn off the TV. We got to turn off Hulu and Netflix. We got to turn this music off and really sit with the things that have gone on in our lives.
Right.
And evaluate the feedback that we're getting from the people that are addressing concerns or seeking to address concerns with us. And that's scary. That's scary because you can actually find out that you aren't as nice of a person as you thought you were.
True.
You can find out that, your head game ain't quite as good as you thought it was.
Real talk. Real talk.
You can find out that you think you're throwing it back, but you're not really throwing it back. You're throwing it, but no one knows exactly what you're doing, and we're all a little upset about it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, you can find out that, you know, things is a little stinky down there. You might need to take some extra measures, you know.
Yeah.
No, which is why your man don't want to go. Which is why your man don't want to go down south. He trying to stay up north where things smell.
Real talk.
You know, and so to that end, and I hope, you know, our audience hears my heart. I'm not only suggesting to women that there are issues, but sometimes my fellas be a little things be, you know, a little sweaty. You know, they ain't trying to hear that, or they think they laying the pipe, and really, sis is like,
really?
I've been tricked. You know, and so what it comes down to is a fear, because if we keep it a buck, the last thing a man wants to hear is that he don't know how to lay the pipe, that he not doing it, right? God forbid, you know, he discovered that he's not satisfying this woman that he really likes and perhaps loves. And so when we begin to really, you know, be honest with the truth that we're really afraid of the work that it takes, the introspection that is required to have healthy relationship. If we can be honest about that part, then we can really begin to do some work. But until people are willing to be honest about just being real about the fact that it's a little bit scary, it's going to be real hard for us to get over this tough place that we are in our community when it comes to love and relationship.
Solid.
Really quick. I don't know if you have another question to ask,
you
but
good.
I have a follow-up question to what our brother OLR just said, and I don't want it to get lost in the flow of where he was. So, and this isn't a dig, but this is a genuine question in regards to what you said, because I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that's definitely a big thing where people really are afraid to meet themselves. Because it's one thing if, you know, even if you decide to for one reason or another put on the bad guy cape, and now I'm just gonna be the villain, I'm gonna have other people hate me or whatever, think whatever they want to think about me. And you know, that's very popular, this whole idea of, or I don't care, or I do whatever, I don't mind what other people think about me. However, what they think of themselves is a very closely guarded thing, is very closely protected. And the idea that if you actually look behind the curtain and see yourself, you're not going to like what you see, that can be very intimidating and cause a bunch of problems. So I definitely see that. My question though is, historically, one of the things, especially with black men, other men as well too, but specifically with black men, seeing as we're um have been the primary focus of the prison system. One of the fringe benefits, and I use the term loosely, of incarceration for many brothers who've been on the wrong path in life is that when you're incarcerated, you got nowhere to go. You in that little 6x6, 8x10, whatever size cell, you just got your little cot, your little toilet there, your little bars, no privacy. Maybe you have a bunkmate, maybe you don't, but it's just you there for 23 hours a day. Can't go nowhere, and so you can't run. All you can do is just really deal with yourself. And most notably, we had a lot of brothers who've had their come to Jesus moment and turn their life around. You know, Detroit Red got locked up, and he couldn't run. He confronted himself, and he ended up turning to Islam and became Malcolm X, as we know, became a powerful leader. Brother Tookie Williams from the Crips, when he got locked up, couldn't escape himself. He realized that, you know, I made a lot of bad choices, and he started trying to do what he can from behind bars to try and undo some of what he helped, what he caused. But for a lot of men, prison has been that padded room where we get locked in and we realize I can't escape myself. I got to confront these uncomfortable truths about myself, and it's caused them to make significant changes. Is there anything like that for women, where women find themselves in this situation, either voluntarily or otherwise, where they can't run from themselves, they have to deal with their issues head on, and as a result, they make changes like that? Or is that something that only men really have at this juncture?
Okay, that's a loaded question. So
That's a heavy one. I know. I'm sorry I dropped it in your lap, but
no,
it just
it's
popped
cool.
up, man.
It's cool. The first thing I want to share is, believe it or not, according to recent statistics, the number of women entering the criminal justice system and the prison system has gone up. I haven't looked at the statistics within the last 3 years or so, but when I last looked at the statistics, the number of women going into the prison system, I think, was up like 45%. And that's
I've seen those numbers. He's telling the truth.
Yeah,
45.
There's a significant increase in the number of women going to prison, and that is very disturbing. And the research behind the reasons why is also very interesting. But so to that end, I say that because I'm suggesting that women have the same opportunity to have this come to Jesus moment that you are describing, this epiphany, this self-discovery moment. Women have the same opportunity to have that experience. Beyond that, I also say the truth of the matter is our culture and society is built, if we're talking about Black and brown people and we're talking about Black women, our culture and society has been built in such a way that they often have moments and frequently have opportunities to take looks in the mirror and grow and evolve. I know this to be true because Black women in most arenas in our world, in our country, are running circles around their Black male counterparts. They are leading the country in business. They are leading the country in education. They are leading the country in terms of starting new businesses and earning significant income. They are leading the world in a number of ways. They are also the highest number or population of people that are taking senior positions at companies and organizations, and often Fortune 500 companies. And so the reason why that is because they are given opportunities to fall, to mess up, to have these come to Jesus moments, to have these moments of self-discovery and evolve and grow and get better. So when we ask this question, do women have the same experience or the same opportunity to have this moment? They do. It just very often is not in the prison system, while there is an increase in the prison system experience for women as well. I often say when women criticize Black men, I often invite them to consider that one of the reasons why Black women are so amazing is because unlike Black men, Black women are not nearly as disenfranchised. I'll go on just for a couple seconds. And here's what I'll say. If you look at the data, if you look at the statistics, you will discover that prisons are built on the 3rd and 4th grade reading level of Black boys. When we talk specifically about the difference between Black girl and Black boy in the reading environment, which is the classroom, when Tanisha shows up and Tanisha misbehaves, people begin to ask questions to Tanisha. Did you eat breakfast? What's going on at home? What could be upsetting you today? Did you break your crayons? When Jamal misbehaves in the classroom and often shows the same behavior, Jamal is sent to the principal's office.
Mm-hmm. Suspended.
Because Jamal is sent to the principal's office, he is snatched the opportunity, and the opportunity, I should say, is stolen from him, the opportunity to receive the same support, encouragement, resources, and ultimately learn the same lessons that the classroom allows Tanisha to get. We all know when you're in the classroom, you learn negotiation skills because somebody got them M&Ms and you got a granola bar. So, you learn compromise. You learn conflict resolution in the classroom. So with Jamal sitting in the classroom, how is he getting those lessons? So the reason why I'm pointing that out is because, again, we live in a cultural society that supports the overall well-being, growth, development, and come to Jesus or self-discovery moments that we're talking about at this moment. Whereas Black men, unfortunately, they are forced to do it in the prison setting. And that isn't a significantly large number of Black men who do actually have this come to Jesus self-discovery moment. Many of them go, get back out, end up in similar environments, and end up going back to prison. Some of them do, in fact, have the self-discovery moments, but many of them don't. And so, you know, it is a complex web of nuance, difficulties, and strategies that have been designed to destroy Black and brown people. But that's really the best answer that I can give to that question. Yes, they have the opportunity to do it in the prison setting environment, but the truth of the matter is they hold in classes, they have in conferences, they have in symposiums, where they get this information and they have the opportunity to evolve and change. And moreover, I mean, since they started out in the classroom, they've been having self-discovery moments that make them better people, so to speak.
So I want to ask you something, because you said something about the classroom, right? When it comes to, I know Dr. Umar always talks about the whole Ritalin thing, where our children, not only our Black boys, they send them to the principal's office, but they also send a prescription with them. Do you find that a lot of times they use that type of method towards our young boys and not necessarily towards our young girls? Because I don't hear much young girls being put on Ritalin or anything like that, or any prescription, when they do act out of order as well as a young boy in the classroom. Do you find that being in the medical field?
So in my line of work, psychiatric treatment or medication management is something that comes up. I work mostly with adults. However, it does come up with young people and children. And my experience has been that in the rare cases where a Black girl is showing inappropriate behavior of some kind, it could be behavior, you know, it could be mental and emotional. In the rare cases where she is ending up in an environment where medication becomes a question, in most cases, she is offered some of the same medication. Now, a couple of things I want to say about this idea of medication treatment. The first thing I want to say is Black and brown children, especially Black men, learn significantly different. And so the goal of the medication is to get them to calm down and be still long enough to get them education in the same way that their white counterparts get information and retain information. That's problematic in a bunch of ways, but that is the truth. I'll also go on to say, in recent research, most children are no longer given Ritalin as a way to manage their inappropriate behavior, attention deficit, and things of that nature. But they are given other newer medication that is designed to help them calm down, be still, pay attention, those kinds of things. The data shows that regardless of whether or not you're a child or an adult, it is both medication treatment along with therapy that helps us to evolve and get better. So while I am not 100% for medication treatment, if you or someone who is in our audience is watching today and there's a conversation about whether or not their child should be on medication, my strong encouragement would be to make sure that their child, if they are going to agree to the medication, make sure that they're also going to therapy. Because otherwise, what we create is an individual who becomes reliant on one and not the other. You can send them to therapy, they can get all the coping strategies, but if they still can't be still, then they still gonna have problems in the classroom. Likewise, you give them the medication, they're gonna be still. But if you don't put them in an environment for them to process all the reasons why they're moving, they are just going to be relying on medication. And unfortunately, many of them will begin to believe as adults that they need medication that they no longer need. Because there are coping strategies that you can gain in a therapeutic setting that can help you also manage your difficulty in being still and your difficulty paying attention that they just don't have because they've just been taking medication.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not 100% for medication, but if it is something that we're going to use as a tool, as a resource, I recommend that we start with the lowest dosage possible. And we also couple that with therapy if it's something that we're going to do, because that child needs skills that you can get in therapy with a little person. Let me rephrase. That little person can get skills that they get in therapy that can allow them to manage how they're behaving in the classroom much better.
Okay. All right. That's what's up.
Yeah.
All right. So we got some questions that we want to get into. You guys already answered your questions, or you guys?
Sure, sure.
Okay. All right. So, first question I want to ask you is, how has the dating scene changed and evolved? Is there a major drastic change, or has it not changed at all?
Wow, I love this question. What a good question. So here's what I'm gonna say. I believe that the landscape of dating has evolved and changed, and I don't know. For part of the reason why there is an ignorance about this is because when we talk about the statistics and love and relationship, we are often not talking about Black and brown people, because there is very little research about Black and brown people and how we do Black love and relationship.
True.
So because we're not being researched and we're not participating in research studies, there isn't a lot of information about how we behave and how we do love and relationship. However, in my professional opinion and in my experience, there have been some huge shifts and change. And I think it's going to make for good conversation when I say this. But one of the things that has evolved and changed is how Black men are showing up to the love and relationship space. What I mean when I say that is Black men are believing now more than they ever have before that they too are a catch. And because we believe that we are also a catch, what we put up with, what we're willing to do, what we're willing to sacrifice, and who we choose to partner with has changed significantly. There was a time where Black men that are 40 and older believed that the woman was the catch. And so he was willing to do anything to catch the woman. Now Black men are like, ho.
Yeah.
I done counted the cost, and the way I see it, this is gonna cost me some huge sacrifices. So number one, I need to re-examine my list to make sure you got a few things on my list before we move forward with this whole situation you're trying to
You're damn right.
Black men haven't always thought that way. Number two, Black men have shifted in their mindset when it comes to the importance that it takes to take care of themselves and take care of their family. As a result, an increasing number of Black men are saying, nah, I think we should hold off on the family thing. Nah, I don't think I really want to have kids. Let me get this paper. Let me get this money. Let me build this business. Let me get this education first. And then let me think about love and relationship. That is a newer thought processes that men are had. For many years, Black men believed, I met a woman, I'm going to go get a good job, and I'm going to take care of my family. And that's it. There are a few reasons why they no longer think that way. And one of them is really important, so I'm going to mention it now. And that is, I really believe the reason why our uncles, our fathers, our grandfathers, and our great-grandfathers were as mean and cantankerous and grumpy and irritable as they were is because they were doing a job that they could not stand, taking care of a family that they love, but they were unhappy internally with themselves and with their life.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's a Black man on this conversation now that doesn't know what it's like to show up to a job they can't stand, working with people that they can't stand for pennies that they also don't appreciate. So Black men are shifted their mindset to say, yeah, you cool, you got a big butt, yeah, you got a nice smile, but you want me to pay these bills, I need to go find a job I like first. Okay, that is a huge shift in the mindset of men and how they show up in love relationship. The third thing I'll say is, not only are they understanding that they are a catch, they are also shifting the importance of putting their careers, building their businesses, and getting their money in order first. The third thing I'll say is that Black men are also shifting their mindset when it comes to the love and relationship, in realizing that it takes more than just a hot meal and a big butt to make them happy for years.
Real talk.
Black men are realizing that he actually needs a woman who can not only cook a hot meal, who not only has a big booty and a pretty smile, but she also feeds him spiritually in a way that revives him, that invigorates him, and it inspires him. So here's the big shift. Because Black men are having this realization, the big shift is the dating experience has become more challenged for our Black female counterparts. Because for so many years, they've been told, if I can cook a hot meal and I can throw that thing back and I'll be loyal to him, that's enough. And it's not enough anymore.
No.
It's not enough anymore.
Well said.
It's nice that you got a big butt, sis. If you watching, we appreciate the big booty. We are part of the big booty community, and we clap it up for the big booties, and we love to see the big booties clap. However, we need more than a big booty and a smile. We need more than a big booty, a smile, and a hot meal, and we appreciate you for the hot meal. Because we gonna be hungry when we get home.
Yeah.
But we also need the kind of woman who knows. I'm glad I got one amen in the comments. I see you. We also need a woman who is introspective enough to be doing personal self-work that allows her to show up in relationship in a healthy way and show up in such a healthy way that she can pour into her partner. So that introspective work, I'm tying the conversation together. I hope y'all tracking with me. The introspective work that we mentioned earlier allows us, each of us, man and woman alike, to show up in a way that allows us to be better for our partners and gives us the ability to pour. This is a completely different mindset. What I'm suggesting is a shift in the landscape of the dating experience that I'm not sure Black women are fully aware of. So what they're doing is they are saying, well, I cook. Well, I give him some. Well, I keep the house clean. And he's still out here flirting and cheating. Now, the truth of the matter is, if we keep it a buck, Black men been cheating for forever and 5 days. And
that's nothing new.
There are a number of
hashtag Black men don't cheat.
There are a number of reasons why Black men do that are outside of their Black female counterparts that have more to do with their own introspective work.
True.
Okay.
True.
So we will definitely put that on the table. That's just a fact. However, part of the reason why Black women are frustrated in the dating space and these are women that are good quality women. Part of the reason why they're frustrated is because they don't have their finger on the pulse of the dating span the way I'm describing it, and they are not realizing that, it's great you got 3 degrees. It's great you have a great business and you can contribute to the household financially. Not that most black men want you to do that, because most Black men don't care about how much money you make, really. Most of us is like, that's nice. Who cares? Because most Black men, in their heart of hearts, most of them want to provide for their family and take care of those bills and responsibilities. Most of them. Now, I will say this, and I'll push pause and yield back. Hopefully, I've answered your question. Another shift in the dating experience is men are not as much in a hurry to provide the way they did generations before.
True.
And
absolutely.
There are a number of reasons why that is. I'm going to give one reason, and then I'll move on, and I'll open up for another question. One of the biggest reasons why that is because, unlike our parents and grandparents, Black men today that are 40 and younger are realizing that their physical and mental capacity is not like their parents and grandparents. Our grandfathers, our great-grandfathers, they had a mental capacity and endurance that we simply don't have. And the mental strength that it takes to take care of a family when you don't make $200,000 a year, the physical strength it takes to show up every day to a job that you may not even like and you don't make $100,000 a year, it is very, very weighty. It is very heavy. That responsibility is very heavy. And so they're realizing that they no longer want to do it, and they're looking to their female partners to also help out in that way.
Okay.
It may not be a truth that we like. It may not be a truth that we're proud of. But mentally, Black men are not as strong as our fathers and grandfathers were.
Okay. Accept that.
Yeah, that's dope. I have a question that just came in. So they wanted you to ask. They wanted me to ask you this question. Okay. What's his take on the success of a relationship when each one has a different communication style? Does he think it is okay for a couple to go more than 24 hours without communication?
Okay. So this idea of communication style is really, really important. I really believe that it is important during the early stages of the vetting process to stop focusing so much attention on the things that we've been focusing it on. This is especially true for men, but it is also true for women. We are some of the most sex addicted people generation ever. Okay.
Yeah.
Our priority is to get the buns, get the buns, get the buns. And the problem with that is we so focus on the tangible. Do they have enough money? Do they look good? You know, do they make me laugh? That we are not focusing on other key ingredients that really make a healthy relationship thrive. One of which is communication. So to that end, I think that it is important for each couple to develop a plan that they both can agree to. That's the most solid answer I can give. If you are the kind of person who does not think that it is okay to go more than 24 hours or to go 24 hours without speaking, then you need to find a person who also aligns with that and believes that. I think that the truth of the matter is it doesn't matter who you choose. There are going to be things that come up in the 20 and 30, 40, 50 years that you are with someone, because our goal is to meet someone and be with them throughout the course of our life. Our goal is to look up and look at somebody and be like, yo, you remember when our kids was first born? Now our kids got kids. That's what the goal is. We are building generations. So since that's our goal, in 20 years, 30 years, I've never met a couple that was married 30 years that didn't say, hey, some things I just wasn't in the mood to talk. So sometimes we ain't talk. But what I appreciate about those couples is I've also never had a couple that didn't have a plan in place to address the reasons why they're not speaking for 24 hours. You understand what I mean? So if we're going to say, all right, cool, I don't like this, but we can go 24 hours without speaking. But after 24 hours, we're about to sit down and really chop it up. We're going to really get into the nitty gritty about what's wrong. I think the person that doesn't like that is more willing to say, all right, as long as I know we're going to get through the hard stuff. Generally speaking, if somebody don't want to talk to you for 24 hours, one or two things is happening. Number one, they're mad about something that they're not willing to talk to you about. Number two, they're afraid of something coming out or something being exposed that they don't want exposed, either within themselves or within their life. Or number three, they are having a difficulty, how should I say this? Or number three, they are, here's the way to put it. They are having a difficulty with their person understanding their personality. Some people who are more introvert in nature need to retreat just to recoup. This is especially true among Black men. This is especially true among Black introvert men. This is especially true among Black men who are business owners, entrepreneurial minds. They need to retreat so that they can recoup and then engage.
That's me.
Oftentimes, Black men often also want to retreat for 24 hours time span. Like I said, the reasons that I mentioned are really important. You know, they hide something from them. It's within or it's around them, you know. But the other thing is a lot of times, Black men retreat because of the stresses of life, and it is in their cave that they recoup and regather their energy. And because women, regardless of their ethnicity, are people who recoup and regather their energy in community. They get their energy back by talking. They have a hard time understanding this.
Makes sense.
So
Solid.
those are my thoughts about the 24 hours. I don't necessarily think it's healthy, but it can be healthy if there's a plan.
Yeah.
If we're not talking just to not be talking, then that's not cool.
Yeah, I know like I know women that will sit in the car and they will decompress. I know several women right now that do that. I don't see, most men don't really decompress like that. I don't see it, but I know sometimes I think men don't communicate. Some men don't communicate on a daily basis like that because, you know, sometimes they just don't want to get too much into, you know, they don't want to talk. Like men don't want to just talk just to talk. Like a lot of men would talk when they have some substance. So if you talking to somebody and you have like 2 hours of talk the day before or whatever the case may be, you might call that person for 5 minutes, but they might see it like that's not really communication to them, but you don't know what kind of day he had. And I think a lot of times guys really, they kind of step back away from saying something because they don't want to bring you into what their day went on. They don't want to say something that will snap on you because of what happened at the job, which a lot of women decompress in the car before coming in the house because they don't want to bring that energy that they got from work into the house. So they decompress as a buffer before going into the house. That's what I see.
So what you just described is, for me, is connected to the answer that I gave about fear. He's concerned or afraid, whatever word you want to use. Fear, has different nuances to it. He's concerned or afraid that he might take out his frustration from the day on her. So he just disengages. I'll also say this: men and women also in our society has built it this way. Men and women recover from stuff from life at different paces. Black women have been forced to recoup and recover quick, which is why sitting in the car for 20 minutes, 30 minutes after a long day at work works. You get on my nerves for 2 hours at work? No, call me tomorrow. I need the rest of the night if you piss me off enough. Because what it took for me to stay calm while I was at work requires the next couple hours for me to recoup. I need a nap. I need a drink. I just need to be left alone. And so men and women recuperate from life's stuff at different paces. And I think that that's also a thing that we're often not cognizant of. He may not want to talk for 24 hours simply because he's trying to recoup. But I will say this. I know Black women have heard it from each other, but I'm going to say it in this conversation because it's also true.
Yeah.
A man that is free and available to talk to you all the time is probably not the actual man that you really want.
Exactly.
Because if he got time to talk to you all the time for 4, 5, and 6 hours out of the day.
That's real.
I mean, I'm just trying to understand. If he got time to talk to you for 4 hours, he can hold a conversation with you for 4 hours. And some men, when you first meet a girl, you really, really feeling her, But even for the men that really like the woman, at some point, he's going to realize, wait a minute, I've been talking to you for 4 hours. I ain't cooked nothing. I live in my own house. You ain't come over here and make nothing to eat. The laundry's still piling up, or more importantly, I got business that I need to attend to because I'm trying to get this podcast up off the ground so we can all eat.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm trying to get these sales up so we can eat. We can talk for 3 or 4 hours in Aruba after I get this business up off the ground.
Yeah. Facts.
So, and I think that a lot of times women are just not thinking about these things. If you got a good man, he like you, he love you, he want to talk to you, but he not going to want to talk to you for 2 or 3 hours. Because he about that business. He's trying to build something that's going to leave a legacy for him, his kids, and his great grandkids.
Definitely. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. So I hope, they're watching, that they can, if that was good enough for them. But that was very powerful. The next question we'll go into is, what have you found to be a consistent challenge men have faced in the U.S.?
A consistent challenge men face. I think the biggest challenge men have faced in the U.S., especially black men, is being disenfranchised. When I say disenfranchised, I mean one of the reasons why black women are making so much more money than us, and they're making more money than we are. The reason why is because of how disenfranchised black men are. They are given access to doors and communication and table and conversation and emails and all these other things that we just don't have access to. I often say the black woman is the most mistreated, disrespected, and misunderstood creature on the face of the planet. And the black man is the most disenfranchised, overlooked, and underappreciated creature on the face of the planet. Black men are left out of the conversation with their kids, with education, in the business world, I said in the education world. In countless areas, black men are often kept on the outskirts, which is why black men are often struggling financially, because we are given the opportunity to sit in the boardroom. And our sisters, black women, are in the boardroom because they got pretty smiles, boobies, and booty. In addition to the fact that they often have also done work to get into that space. So they've gotten education that black men often don't have, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not just because they're, women, but also because they're educated and they've done the work. So, I think if I would answer that question, it would be to simply say that black men are the most disenfranchised. Black men are often just extremely mistreated and overlooked. And unfortunately, sometimes that's even by their own people, even by our sisters.
True. I will say this. Apparently there's some conflicting information about black women making more money than black men. That's not what a lot of the statistics are saying. There is some conflict. There is definitely some conflict on that. To my understanding, and I read these statistics pretty often. The average median, salary for the average black woman is somewhere around 38,000. For the average black male, is somewhere around 43. I do, and I think that maybe it depends on where the websites and so forth, the sources are coming from. But I do know that people tend to put a lot of extras on a certain segment of the black female population that may be doing better, whatever the case may be. But broadly speaking, really, there isn't, again, depending on where you're getting your information from, there is conflicting information on that. Whereas, they're not saying that black women are making more money than black men as a general fact.
Yeah, I'm reading some of the comments a little late. Here's what I'll say, Major. In that area, we may have to disagree. I do like that you pointed out that that it depends on where you get your data from, where you get your information from. According to my research and what I'm aware of, generally, black men make somewhere around $45,000 to $55,000 a year, whereas black women make somewhere around $65,000 to $75,000 a year on average.
The average black woman, really?
On average, yeah, because they're more educated than we are. And we all know that black women we all know that education often leads to more income. So those are my thoughts. But we can agree to disagree. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that information though is important to the dialogue. Because I get what you're saying. You're making some conclusions based on that information. Like for instance, there was a statistic that came out a few years back that said that black women were the most educated of all groups, right? I don't know if you remember that article. And that turned out to be false. Black women are the most enrolled of all groups, but they were not the most educated. But you know, I get where you're coming from. There is I will agree with you on this. There is there are too many black men that are not in the position where they're considerably out earning their black female counterparts. I will definitely say that, because
That's a
that
real tricky way to say that you agree with what I'm saying, but
yeah, I kind of agree with it. Because the broader issue is that it's not necessarily, that it's not necessarily okay, they're making more money than we are, or whatever the case may be, but it is, right? Because when we're saying the issue is that we're just not earning enough, not that they're earning so much, I guess is what I'm really trying to say. Because black women, broadly speaking, they love to say that, money doesn't mean that much, and love don't cost a thing, whatever the case may be, until they're in the situation where the money just ain't adding up, or whatever the case may be. And I think that, money is probably, aside from the accountability issues and so forth, that's the other thing, that's the other elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. You know what I'm saying? And I think that way too many of us, fall into these traps, where the man makes, there was a whole meme that went up about, if the man makes 80,000 and the woman makes 40,000, everything's fine, or whatever. Hey, baby, I love you, I got you. But if the woman makes 80,000 and the man makes 40,000, well, nigga, you always broke. You know what I'm saying? It's a serious power dynamic, that nobody really wants to talk about. And I think that, when we enter that space, unfortunately, like we really have to go hard on the numbers, because unfortunately, a lot of people, their whole mind state is based on the numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, do you feel that way? Like they love don't cost a thing as long as your numbers are on point.
So I'm always careful not to infer my own personal experiences into the feedback that I get, or that I give, because I'm very fortunate. I attract great women. Some of them have made more money than me. Some of them have not. And the ones that have made more money than me, I didn't all of a sudden become a broke nigga. I'm very grateful too. I'm very grateful for that.
No doubt.
But I'm also very selective about the kind of women.
As you should be. Yes.
Because what you're not going to do is come up in this place that we call home and act funny on me because you earning $10,000 more than me.
Right. No doubt.
We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Because the truth of the matter is that $10,000 is probably being eaten up by taxes. So what are we doing? What are we really getting into it about?
True.
Unless we are wise business owners and we figured out how to write this thing off, how we can write it off. But that's a conversation for another time. So, what you said, I am inclined to agree with, and this is the aspect of it that really stands out to me. Finances is very, very important to love and relationship, regardless of your race or ethnicity.
Yes.
And in fact, regardless of your gender. So even in same-sex relationships, where if finances comes up and it becomes an issue, it's an issue in all of our relationships. Because the truth of the matter is, when you got too much and you don't agree on how to manage it, people start having problems. Likewise, when you don't have enough and you can't figure out how to cover your expenses, people start having problems. So I agree with that aspect of what you share. And I think that it is important to have a lot of really fleshed out, thorough conversations about it, and to develop healthy strategies for how to manage the money. I think that one of the reasons why this issue of relationship dynamics when it comes to money comes up is because couples often go into the love and relationship space without a plan for how they're going to manage their money. They are not having conversations about how the money is to be distributed and spent.
Yeah.
No
This is
doubt.
what I mean when I say we are too quick, we are too invested in having sex and not interested in having the real conversation. Because how you manage your money, you can be as fly and as fine and bootylicious and throwing it back any way you want to. But the minute you start messing with my money, I'm gonna forget how fine you are.
Yeah.
Especially if the way you manage your money is impacting my ability to eat. Because when I get hungry, I want something to eat. Ain't no food in this refrigerator. I don't care how fine you are. It's gonna cause some problems.
Right.
So what I'm getting at is these are the kinds of conversations that we need to be having, and we need to be assessing and observing, paying attention to. Okay, what do I mean? If she always got the latest J's on because she loved J's, and when she ain't got J's on, she rocking Louis and Gucci, but she can never afford to go to the girls' trip, or she always got to wait till she get paid to pay for the girls' trip. These are signs.
Yeah.
These
Agreed.
are indicators. You know, if she always seemed to be, you know, right before the 2 or 3 days leading up to the next time she get paid, she seemed to be asking you for $25 or getting mad about you not ever thinking to send her Cash App money for lunch. We need to be paying attention. Oh, you know, I noticed something about you. You fine. You real smart. You got a good job, but it seems like even though you got a good job, you get upset with me every month about 2 or 3 days before your check because I ain't sent you no Cash App for you to get your nails done and get your hair done.
Right. We were just talking about that earlier, the proper vetting process.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of us not on that.
Yeah.
It's vital. It's vital. It's vital. And I think when we do better in the vetting process, we ultimately date less. We have less sex, but we date less because we are choosing more wisely. So we are meeting and having more serious and impactful relationships.
Agreed.
Yeah, and that I like that because I just want to say real quick that I've walked away from women. I know we talk about women having more degrees, but I've walked away from women that have been very irresponsible taking out those loans when it comes to degrees as well. Because if you look at the dynamics of a man, and this is why men have to talk about that, you know, because when you look at the dynamics of a man, if I'm supposed to be the provider of a household and you accumulated $250,000 worth of
loan
debt because you got 2-3 degrees, how am I supposed to take care of the household, then to make sure that your bills are taken care of? Everything falls onto me.
Right.
And the minute it doesn't, I don't feel, I mean, I'm not in the mood or financially not able to basically take care of that. Now I'm looked at as broke. Now I'm looked at as worthless. And you're the one who racked up all the financial debt, and now it gets thrown on me. And especially if I'm married, now it becomes me as well. And that's why I think leads up to, you know, men being 3 times more suicidal than everybody else, because we bottle it up and we have all this pressure. And I tell people all the time, like, when a man is broke, who can he go to get money? When a woman is broke, there's about several other people that's going to help her get a little bit of money. So that type of pressure, you know, I don't want guys to go into a situation and have that type of weight on their shoulders. That's why, like Major was saying, and you were saying as well, when you talk about the vetting process is very critical, not only to your pockets, but also to your mental health.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I mean, I think we have beat this horse up pretty well. We agree that it's important. I think, unfortunately, Black men are the only species on the planet who, if they don't show up financially, they are considered worthless.
Yeah.
True.
You know, we are the only people who our total worth and value to our community and to our partners is directly connected to how we show up financially.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
It's incredibly sad. And the truth of the matter is, it's not a conversation that people want to have because it makes them uncomfortable, but it is a very harsh reality that a lot of black men face. Am I making excuses for a black man's need to get up, get out, and be something? Absolutely not. But what I am saying is, if you see that black man out there trying, his worth and his value shouldn't be, the total sum of his worth and value can be connected to, and should not be connected to what he contributes to the household financially.
I totally agree with you. However, I just want to put I'm glad Anthony said something. He said it in his last little segment. I want to throw this in there, and then I want to kick this question back to you. When Anthony was talking, it clicked in my head. A lot of these studies that they put out here when they're talking about women and what they make or whatever the case may be, we need to also keep in mind that things like child support, alimony, etc., are often counted as income. I just wanted to throw that in there. So they have a lot of false positives that end up showing up when they're not really there sometimes. But this is the question. This is the question that I want to kick back to you, since you just said what you said. When Anthony was lost my train of thought. Damn it. Damn. Oh, and I had a good question. Oh, to spit back to what you were saying. You were talking about the women, and when you see that black man trying, rock with him for a minute, basically. You know what I'm saying? What do you say to the women who say, well, you can't invest in potential? You can't invest in potential. That's potential, but, potential can't do anything for me now. I agree with you, but how do you, and in their favor, or in their defense, a lot of times these guys never move past the potential state. You understand what I'm saying? So, whereas we may feel a way about them saying that, they're often right, where the guy's just potential forever and he never matures beyond that space. What do you say to them? Those, not the ones that are just, neck waving and talking BS, but the ones that really legitimately are saying, the potential game is pretty much dangerous. If I get caught up in dealing with this person and only looking at their potential, then they may never bear fruit. Their potential may never come to fruition. How do they handle that, in your opinion?
I like this question a lot as well. The first thing I would say is, I think that when we are in the vetting process with someone who we are considering as a partner, we need to know what our core values are that are important about the person that we desire to be in relationship with. With that being said, if we have found that core value, those core things within that person, I think that we need to get to a place where we decide, if they never change because they have the core values, can we do life together? You understand what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
The reason why I say that is because each of us has a measure of potential. All of us, men and women alike, have a measure of potential, but we don't choose a person solely based on their potential. We choose them mostly on how they show up that day, that moment, in that season, in that chapter of life.
Yes.
So if we properly assess, do they have good character? Are they trustworthy? Are they honest? Are they reliable? Whatever the core values are of a person that are important to you, do they have those things? You base whether or not you invest in their potential off of that. If they're not trustworthy, if they're not reliable,
right?
You understand what I mean? And they broke, and they don't give up good dick. Listen, sister, what you doing?
You answered that question exactly the way I would have. Real talk. Because that's what it is at the end of the day. What is the totality of the character of this individual? That will inform whether or not they make good on their potential. Exactly. That's how I see it as well.
Exactly. That informs whether or not you're going to get a return on your investment in their potential.
Very solid answer. Yeah, I'm rocking with that heavy.
If you got a bust out here, he disappeared for 24 hours, and he disappeared every week for 24 hours. He disappeared 7 weeks at a time. He ain't never got no money. He got to borrow your car to get to work, and he got to borrow your car to go pick up his mama. He gone for 6 hours after he's supposed to drop his mama off. Huh? What we doing out here? What we doing? What we doing? A lot of the reason why some women have an issue with investing in potential is because many of those same women invested in potential with women who were clearly people that they should have never invested in the first place.
No doubt. Yeah. Real
So
talk.
now you taking all your potential investment or the lack thereof. Let me rephrase. You're taking out your frustration, your fear, and your disdain about your potential investment out on the good man when you shouldn't have invested on that clown.
Real talk.
Years ago.
And now you're bitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You upset about the clown for 2 years ago. Now you like, I ain't about to have that. Okay. All right. Well.
And then it becomes cyclical.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Now we are in a cycle, and it adds to the issues that we have in our community when it comes to love and relationship. Because the truth of the matter is, I've never met a couple who was married 15, 20, and 30 years where at some point or another, one person was up and the other person was down, and then it split.
Right.
The other person was up and the other person was down.
How about that?
When you rock with somebody for 20 and 30 years, inevitably life is going to happen to you, and it's in a way that is going to put you on the bottom.
Yep.
Real talk.
Which is why I said it's really important to know what your core values are that you need from the person that you want to be in a relationship with, and then decide whether or not their potential is something you can invest in.
Yeah,
dope.
Definitely.
Let me
I'd
just
also sprinkle real quick some parsley on that. Just a little garnish, because the whole meal's there. I just want to toss a little garnish on the side.
Yeah.
All investments are not created equal either. I'd say, if you're going to do that, you definitely want to look for someone who's kinetic with the energy. When they talk about energy, they refer to two different types of states, where you have potential energy, you have kinetic energy. The potential energy is the energy that's stored up. It's just sitting there. There's a possibility that it can generate energy, but it's not currently in motion. Then you have the kinetic energy that's actively in motion. It's energy that's being used actively. It's the snowball rolling down the hill, so to speak, what have you. It's one thing between someone that you know is smart or know that is capable, but is sitting on that potential, versus the person who, regardless of what you think they may or may not be able to do, whatever it is they have, whether they have an abundance of potential or a limited amount, they're doing something with it. They're actively. So one person says they have a goal. I'm going to start a business. Other person says I'm going to, make plans to go back to school. And the person that says they're going to start the business, they never actually do anything. They never take any steps. They're not even looking up how to file for an LLC. They're not looking up any suppliers, whatever, per se. Meanwhile, the person with the goal of going to school, they've already sent out multiple applications. They've went ahead and got recommendation letters. They're going ahead. They're filing all the paperwork. They're visiting the campuses. They're getting all of their supplies if they're going. One person's in motion. They're acting off it, versus a person just coming up with gasoline dreams or what have you. So, if you're gonna do it, you want to look for the person that's actively making good on. They may not have all the answers. They may not have all the steps, but they're taking the steps. Versus the person that's just everything is theory. Nothing's actually being put into application as of yet.
I agree. Absolutely. This garnish is beautiful. Beautiful.
Chef's kiss.
That's all. While be drinking the book.
Go ahead, brother.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I just wanted to get into this last question for because I know time is running. So, what are your thoughts about the increasing number of men, Black men specifically, seeking marital partners outside of the U.S., and how can women here in the U.S. win? Meaning that You could talk about the men going over there, but give us tips on how women here can win to change that trajectory of men going outside to now seek back in here.
Another loaded question. So here's what I'm gonna say. I think that people should date who they want to date. So to men who are seeking partners outside of the U.S., more power to them. One of the ways that my brother, Dr. Umar, and I disagree is he believes that black people should only date black people. And he has a bunch of very valid and considerable reasons for why he thinks that way. However, I am more of the mindset that life is very short. And if you have the opportunity to have love, which is probably one of the greatest gifts you could ever have in life, and that person happens to look different from you, in my opinion, that shouldn't be a reason why you choose not to embrace that gift, because love is a gift that, when you have love, it's just like,
it's amazing.
It's like I've been talking all night long. I can't even finish my sentence. When you got real, genuine love, it's just it's something. So I think people should date who they want to date, and I think that includes race and ethnicity. So to my brothers that are dating outside of the U.S., first of all, most of them are dating black women outside of the U.S.
True.
Most of them are just seeking black women that are not in the U.S. The reason why that is because there is a lot that has shifted in our culture and our society in the westernized world that a lot of people, both men and women alike, are realizing that it's actually very harmful for our society. One of which is this individualistic mindset. It is very harmful for us to embrace this ideology that it's my four and no more. It's me and my team. We gonna win. I'm gonna win, and you figure it out.
Yeah.
It's very problematic. It's very harmful, especially for black people, because we need each other to survive in this country. So I think those are my initial thoughts about this idea of black men dating outside of the U.S. I think people should date who they want to date, and if black men are finding black queens in Africa, in Germany, in London, by all means. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Okay.
I also think that black men need to give black women a lot more grace than we give them. There's a reason why she shows up as angry as she appears to be. There's a reason why she shows up as masculine in her energy as she appears to show up. There's a reason why she seems the need to be controlled, to have control in everything all the time. And so to that end, I think that black men need to give black women a little bit more grace, and particularly those that are here in the US, because our culture and society has cultured this kind of black women that we have this kind of love-hate relationship with. We love black women, but ooh, we can't stand them sometimes. I hear a lot of black women say black men don't actually love black women. They just love their vaginas. I hear a lot of black women say that. I would argue that we have a love-hate relationship with them. And that is because there are many things about them that we understand that is incredible, and we could never get it in any other kind of woman. But on the other hand, there are also some things that are very damaging to us as we're in community with them.
True.
And so, in my opinion, black men need to have a little bit more grace towards black women here in the U.S. And those are my thoughts on that. I think that for black women to win in the love and relationship space, I think that they would have to really think critically. Thanks for showing up, Kat. For black women to win, I think that they have to really think critically about conversations like the one we had tonight.
Yeah.
When I say that is think critically about the truth that I shared about how Jamal is sent to the principal's office, but Tanisha is asked questions. Because if in the very early building blocks of black man's life, he doesn't have the opportunity to cultivate the relationship skills that Tanisha has, it explains and helps us understand why he shows up the way he does, why he disappears for 24 hours and he thinks that's okay.
Yeah.
They have to think really critically about the shift in the landscape, why men are starting to believe that they are in fact also a catch. And the truth of the matter is, black men are believing that they are the catch because they're realizing that a lot of their brothers really are clowns. And so, hey, wait a minute. Some of my brothers really are out here acting a fool. And I don't act a fool. When I show up in a space, when I open my mouth as a black man who is intelligent and articulate, most times the sisters is like, oh, okay, he's like a breath of fresh air.
Real talk.
So it has occurred to me, wait a minute now. I don't have no trouble finding a black woman. Some of my brothers do in fact have issues meeting good black women. I would suggest that part of that has to do with how they're showing up in the world. Different conversation perhaps for another night. But for me, how I show up in the world, I meet good black women all the time.
Real talk.
I mean, now some of the good black women aren't quite black women that I personally would be like, oh, let me build with you.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean because I don't think that she's the kind of woman that I would build a life with that she isn't a good black woman. That
no doubt.
Not be a good black woman for me.
True. That's true.
Makes sense.
So for them to win, again, I think they have to really think critically about tonight's conversation. Another thing that I mentioned is this idea of communication styles. Black women are not thinking about the difference in communication styles when they're in the vetting process. They worried about whether or not he got a job. And rightfully so. I mean, if we think about it, if sis about to have these babies, she got to figure out how these babies gonna eat. But if you have babies with a joker who can actually provide, but you can't talk to him, you can't have a conversation with him where the both of you come to an understanding about a disagreement that you're having, what are we doing?
Right. Real talk.
I'm gonna add one last thing that I know we gotta go and our time is far spent, but I think one of the things that black women, here's a winning nugget for all the ladies in the room. Black women need to thoroughly assess the leadership style of the man that they are getting to know. One of the reasons why black women...
Major key alert. Yes. You cooking, bro. You cooking with hot grease.
Hey, it's 10 o'clock my time. The later it gets, the more I'm a night owl. So I start to pick up.
Bro, you riding. You riding right now.
We breaking into the storehouse now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
The reason why black women are having issues related to submission and black men are also having some challenges related to it is because of other dynamics, but also because of a difference in leadership styles.
True.
We've all had supervisors who we thought, I would do anything this person asked me to do. And we've all had supervisors who we thought, I don't know who you think you're talking to, but if you ever talk to me like that again, I'm going to bust you in the mouth and wait for the police to get here.
There it is. Oh, yeah.
Because you got me chopped.
Yeah. Real talk.
What you're experiencing when you have that kind of experience with a supervisor or with a person that you're in community with, even if it's not love and relationship, is a difference in leadership style.
True.
So when you have met a woman who has a difficulty following your lead, I would invite you to think critically about how you're showing up as a leader and whether or not that aligns with her personality. Likewise, if she is a woman, she needs to be assessing, is his leadership style something that I could rock with? Does he lead like Barack Obama or does he lead like Donald Trump? These are two very different leadership styles.
Right.
Okay? Barack Obama shows up in a space where he leads with a level of authority that is collaborative and diplomatic. Donald Trump shows up in a way that is specifically and seriously aristocratic or authoritarian. Some women really do want to be told what to do. That is aristocratic and authoritarian. But most women in 2023, especially those that are black, want a collaborative leader. Baby,
That makes sense.
this is the idea that I have. This is the direction that we're going. These are the steps that we need to get here. There are a few different paths we could take. These are some pros and some cons if we go this way. These are some pros and cons if we go that way. Which way you think we should go, baby?
Yeah.
That's a gem.
Even if you don't choose the direction that she says you think she should go, the fact that you said which way you think we should go, that is collaborative leadership style.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And generally speaking, in 2023, with black people, men and women alike, we want to have some say in what you about to do.
Of course.
Because if you leave me in a ditch and you my partner, I am supposed to help us get out of this ditch. But why would I help us get out of the ditch I never agreed to and you never even talked to me about?
It makes sense, man. It makes sense.
Well,
I mean, just broadly speaking, not even just, with women, whatever the case may be, people generally, even in the corporate space. I'm in a new position now. They just sent our manager to another department. We're managing ourselves because they found through research that the collaborative management style bears more fruit. It is more effective. And to speak to the, when we talk about the women, whatever the case may be, why would you, as a black man, go out of your way to find this woman that's so intelligent and so bright and has so much to offer and not want to include her and ask her opinion when you're, making decisions, whatever the case may be? Why would you not want to do that? Doesn't that defeat the whole purpose of having this intelligent and wonderful woman there to begin with? So I would put that out to the fellas, just as a, like you say, checking your leadership style, but also just as a self-assessment, to the point where, okay, am I utilizing the resources around me to the fullest of my capability? Because she is also a resource.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
When you go with the authoritarian route, one, it's very risky because if you make the wrong decision, it's all on you. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying?
by the
And
sword, die
then,
by the sword.
exactly. Then in addition to that, have you made the best decision in that? Have you brought in the opinions of all your best and most resourceful people, of which I would assume that your woman would be at the top of that list if you're properly vetting and going through, like you say, looking at the character of the person that you've chosen. No, that's a gem that you just put out there right there. That's a big one. And I really hope that, that resonates with people. Collaborative and respectful. Kat was saying that they enjoyed that response as well. That is a big deal, man. I really, really like that response.
And I'm gonna really quickly go ahead and plug this because I know we've spoken on this before in our early episodes. Brothers, go ahead and do your due diligence. You don't have to go and do a whole study into it, but start getting familiar with what leadership is and what it looks like. There are many different leadership styles out there that exist, many different facets of it as well too. Um, Brother OLR mentioned two of them: the authoritative, aristocratic style, and then the collaborative style. But it's not just those two. It's not black and white. There are very many different leadership styles, and I would say that a competent leader knows how to reach out in multiple formats. You might be with a woman who is a solid woman, a great woman to be with, but she responds more to the aristocratic style where she trusts you wholeheartedly. She wants to put the ball in a man's hand. She just wants to be on the sidelines cheering for him, ride or die. She's willing to go with it. You might bump another sister who wants the collaborative style. So the more versatile you are, the more your options open up where you're able to engage with different quality women who have different needs. I'm going to pitch it again. Great book to read by John C. Maxwell, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership.
Good book. Great one.
And there's other ones out there too. Look up some leadership. These are things we're not necessarily born knowing. You don't come out of the womb knowing about that collaborative leadership. Never happened.
No doubt.
So go ahead, invest in yourself, invest in your future, And the beautiful part is we're talking about learning how to be able to lead your significant other or mate. But remember, like all good learning, the first beneficiary of this is yourself. When you become a better leader, then you are able to better lead yourself first and foremost. And then you're able to lead your children, lead your spouse, lead your co-workers, and everyone else around you. So go
Real
ahead, make
talk.
the self investment so you can be the investment. You can be the plug for everybody around you.
Right.
Definitely.
And real quick before you jump in, and real quick, I just want to add this to that because, like Bobby said, having the different leadership styles. You probably have one dominant one that you lead with, but being able to switch up is great because different situations call for different types
Mm,
of leadership. That is really, really
absolutely.
important. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you don't have time for this, that, and the third block. Sometimes you have to be authoritarian. You have to be a dictator. Hey, I need this done. And then sometimes you can deliberate. And, knowing the type of leadership to defer to depending on the situation, that's where you get into power and the understanding of power. And I want to make sure I plug this one book. If you haven't, if you don't know, and if you don't know now, you know. I
So,
read this book several times a week. I
so
read excerpts from it. The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. It'll change your life.
Yeah,
And I'll land my plane.
Facts.
definitely. Hey, we got so much. I got questions coming in. I know Bobby had a question.
Your
I'm gonna
voice
let
is
our big,
mad low, and I don't
huh?
know. Your voice is low. You sound real.
I sound low?
Yeah, you sound low. It's real thin too. I don't know. Did you do something?
So
Nah, I ain't do nothing. Did you guys?
you good
Nah,
on this, man.
man.
I
I'm
hear you
low?
all loud and clear.
Oh, okay.
you
Go
sound a
ahead.
little better. I think just because you back some.
Oh, okay, okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so basically I just wanted to say that we got a lot of questions coming in, but I want to do a part two with O. So we're definitely gonna have him come back at a
Bet.
later time. We'll definitely schedule it up, see what is in his schedule. But yo, it was so dope, and I'm glad you guys got to experience O. Phenomenal dude. Like I said, we've been on the Clubhouse platform. Yo, we was chopping it up, giving great advice to people, and we end up linking up. And I said, yo, you know what? Let me go ahead and link up with O. And then I was like, yo, we got the podcast. We got these dope people coming on here. Let me hit O up. And I hit O up, and O was like, yo, I'm with it. Let's do it.
Okay.
So definitely, man. I do want to say I want to show you this video before I let O give the audience his info and how to contact him. So I do
Bet.
want
So
to show this video
if
just to tie up everything that we talked about and the importance of it. I just want to show this video. All right.
and before you do that,
the queen.
No, what? Go ahead.
I was gonna say before you do that, if it's okay with you, I want to fill the audience for one last question. So that is that person that's like, man, I didn't get my question answered. I would love to answer one last question if there is someone in the audience that has a question. Other than that, otherwise, let's go to the video.
Oh no, we can go to the video. We got it.
Okay.
All right.
Dynamic play on the board. She can move and do what no other player can do. The king, on the other hand, he moves one step at a time. Even though the king moves one step at a time, every one step that he takes, he holds the weight of every player on the board, because if he missteps, then he can be checked or it'd be a checkmate and they lose the game. The worst thing you can do as a king is try to limit the dynamics of the queen to your one-step approach, to not allow her to evolve and to live into her fullest potential. Because when she's at her best self, then the queen is not only great for herself, but she's great for the king and she's great for every other player on the board. The worst thing you can do as a queen is in your dynamics be so independent that you lose sight of every step that the king is taking. If you're not in line with every step the king is taking, then it leaves you vulnerable for them to take out the king. And make no mistake about it, the goal is to take out the king. So if you can pull the queen off and have her distracted, then you take away the
Wow.
Take away the most dynamic player off the board.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So
Yes.
I just wanted to tie everything in with that, and let OLR go ahead and close us out with, not close us out, but just have him let everybody know where they can contact and reach him at.
Yo, listen, this conversation has been everything to me tonight. After dealing with so many different challenges going on in my world, to have the opportunity to just share with our audience, Kat, Lakeisha, I see y'all pulling up. Thank y'all for being a part of the conversation. To these amazing kings that have invited me to be a part of this conversation, I am extremely grateful. Anthony is truly a man of his word. When I connected with him on Clubhouse, he said, "Yo, we're gonna get together. We're gonna chop it up. We're gonna put in some work." And I think that might have been 2 or 3 years ago, and he still to this day showed up and did exactly what he said he was going to do. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to share. If I had any final thoughts, it would really be to invite our audience, invite love and relationship pursuants all over the world in our audience who may be watching. Don't give up on love. Your opportunity for love is coming, and it's probably closer than you think you are. And if you're looking to connect with me, I invite you to do so. You can send me an email at mr.roberson01@yahoo.com. You can send me an email there, or you can simply follow me on Instagram and send me a DM in the Instagram at OLR Speaks. I'm happy to send you a copy of the book, talk with you about some candles that I have, and some other products that I'm releasing and sharing with my community and with my audience. Thank y'all so much for this great conversation. And please feel free to hit me up.
Blessings.
Definitely, man.
Yes, thank you for coming, brother. Been great having you.
Definitely appreciate you coming on air with us. Like I said, we're definitely going to reach out and have a part 2 and have you back on. It was just a pleasure. Thanks for dropping so much gems on our podcast. We really appreciate it. The audience appreciate it. The people that just blowing me up appreciate it. And they definitely said they're going to follow you. I had a couple of people that asked me for your email, and I gave it to them. So thanks again. Have a great night, man. We appreciate you. All right?
Yay.
All
Blessings.
right, peace.
All right, man.
All right. So
solid.
tonight, we kind of went over the limit. We was gonna do the hell yeah, hell nah, but let's get into our queen check of the night, and we could wrap up out of here.
Yeah.
For tonight. So our queen check. Anybody figure they know who the queen check tonight is gonna be?
Crown check
Keke
for
Palmer.
tonight. Hey.
Our crown check for tonight.
I don't know who it is. Nah.
I had to.
Our recipient is very powerful tonight. We're talking about family. So we talk about relationships, building the core foundation. And so who better to put the core foundation with our queen, Betty Shabazz.
Betty Shabazz.
So as you can see, that look, man, that look of a powerful queen looking at her powerful king with the family, man. That's so iconic. We want to see more of that. We want to see more of that.
Mm-hmm.
So as you guys know, Betty Shabazz, May 28th, 1934,
Gemini.
to June 23rd, 1977, also known as Betty X, was an American educator and civil rights advocate. She was married to Malcolm X. A little bit more information on her. Shabazz grew up in Detroit, Michigan, where her foster parents largely sheltered her from racism. She attended the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. Go ahead with Alabama. The spirit of Alabama.
Oh, go.
Where she had her first encounters with racism. Unhappy with the situation in Alabama, she moved into New York City, where she became a nurse. It was there that she met Malcolm X, and in 1957, joined the Nation of Islam. The couple married in 1958. Along with her husband, Shabazz left the Nation of Islam in 1964. She witnessed his assassination on the following year, left with the responsibilities of raising 6 daughters. As a widow, Shabazz pursued higher education and went to work at Medgar Evers College in Brooklyn, New York, following the 1995 arrest of her daughter for allegedly conspiring to murder Louis Farrakhan. Shabazz took in her 10-year-old grandson, Malcolm, and in 1997, he set fire to her apartment, and Shabazz suffered. Let me get this out of the way. Can't really see it. uh, Sorry about that, everybody. He set fire to her apartment. Shabazz suffered severe burns and died 3 weeks later as a result of her injuries. So, we definitely wanted to give a good shout out to our great queen sister, Betty Shabazz, for all the work she has. She's been such an inspiration, and I won't. I can't stop saying it, but in order for you to be a very powerful man, to exude at your ultimate, most highest level, you have to have a powerful queen by your side. It
It's a
is
big deal.
it is just necessity for you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm had one, Dr. King had one, and Coretta Scott is just what you need because at the end of the day, you've seen two powerful kings get taken out, and the roles of the woman had to step up because they were such powerful queens. They stepped up and raised the daughters without the men being in the household due
Mm-hmm.
to them being assassinated. So it's very important. If you want to be out here and strive as a real powerful man, make sure your queen matches that greatness. And trust me, anything that a powerful queen in your corner will do is that powerful queen will raise you up 10 levels of your notch. Trust me, I've seen it. All right. So, with that being said, I'll let you guys go ahead and close this out. Major Bobby.
Powerful show tonight. Powerful show tonight. Shout out to Brother O. Brother O brought it. He really, really brought it. I enjoyed a lot of what he
Sure
had to
did.
say. I enjoyed all of what he had to say. The brother's very solid, very thorough. Looking forward to part two. Um, Black people in the dating and relationship space. Let's get it together. Let's bring it in. He said, that black men need to show a lot more grace to black women. I definitely agree with that. I also feel that black women need to show a lot more grace to black men. We have this presumption of guilt when it comes to dealing with each other. You understand? When you meet another black person, you presume that they've done something wrong or that they're going to do you wrong or whatever. I can remember one young lady I was dating, and we were talking, and I was telling her, how much I was feeling her, this, that, and the third. And she's like, what, you think I'm gonna let you in be in a relationship with you so you can fuck up my life? I was like, what? You know what I mean? Like, but as crazy as she sounded, a lot of sisters and a lot of brothers, they approach the dating and relationship conversation like that, particularly, strangely as it may sound, particularly when they're dealing with someone that's a little more evolved than them. And I'm here to tell you today, that this person, that may be a little more evolved than you, or maybe smarter than you, or whatever the case may be, maybe a little whatever than you, is not necessarily something for you to be afraid of. I want to go back to a point that our brother O made, on the podcast, where he was talking about, when you're dealing with someone and their potential, you're dealing with, the character of that person as well. So when you're looking at potential, it's not just potential. Don't look at it as just potential. Look at it as their potential plus the character of the person that you're vetting and the person that you've gotten to know. That is critical, because if you have real character, you've done the proper vetting process when dealing with this person, they're not going to just allow their potential to lie dormant. You understand what I'm saying? And when we start interacting with each other as black people, we have to learn to start to see the God in our brothers and sisters very clearly. You understand? We have to look for that. A lot of us, when we see another black person, oh, what's this nigga gonna do? We need to stop looking at, we need to stop looking at ourselves through the lens of the common white supremacists, which is what we do a lot of the time. You know what I'm saying? We have to start seeing each other as brothers and sisters and treating each other in that manner, respecting each other, giving each other the benefit of the doubt, showing each other more grace, approaching relationships in the spirit of cooperation, in the spirit of, success, wanting success, common goals, common ideals, so forth and so on. We need to start, rolling in that space. You know what I'm saying? And until we do, we're going to continue to see these type of problems, these type of catastrophes, that we're running into. Um, and I just want to encourage more of us to be more positive and enter interactions with each other in a more positive mental space. And I want to make sure I give a quick shout out. The Queen Check was excellent, by the way. Shout out to Sister Shabazz. I want to give a quick shout out to the Change Tomorrow Today podcast. I went on there last week. Actually Saturday, I went on there, had a great interview with those brothers, and I'm going to post that up tomorrow. I've just been so busy, I haven't had a chance. I really want to give it its moment when I post it up. Those brothers are very solid. We had a great conversation, and respect to you all. I'll land my plane.
Yeah, make sure you post that because I'm gonna be at work tomorrow. And I love to listen to podcasts while I'm at work.
For sure.
Love it.
Facts. Yeah, man. I'm gonna refer to something that the OG Jason Black, shout out to the Black Authority TBA.
Yay.
I'm gonna refer to something that he said on a number of occasions. He said, given the fact that we are living under a system of racism, white supremacy, and have been for quite some time, we have to understand that as Black people, as a collective, we are not okay. We haven't been okay for quite some time, and due to the conditions of this system that we're in, many of us, in fact, all of us who are born into the system, we came out the womb not okay. Um, with that being said, when it comes to our relationships, there really is no reason for us to have the hubris that many of us have and the arrogance that many of us have, where we believe that in terms of quality that uh, one is that we're not good enough for others, excluding detrimental behaviors. That's something that I would say is um is the exception to that. People who are demonstrating detrimental behaviors, that things that's just flat out of order, the foul stuff we talk about, all the sexy red Sukihana type behaviors, that's different. And even there's a little bit of grace that should be extended. But when we come together as man and woman, we need to be transparent with one another. We need to have a spirit of fairness. We need to stop trying to screw each other over, try to hit a lick, trying to finesse each other. We need to come together, come to the table. We need to pour out our respective bags and say, look, this is what I'm dealing with. I got this issue. My paper ain't right. I didn't complete school. I have some warrants. I have a record. You know, I have 2 or 3 baby daddies or whatever. I have all the baggage needs to come out. We need to look at the baggage that we have on the table and say, this is what I'm dealing with. I'm a
Mhm.
mess. I am a work in progress. Are you willing to work with me in this endeavor to get better? And that's the next thing. Uh, Brother O touched on something very real earlier that I really like. I'm really going to really hold on to that. I really believe there's a lot of truth in that, where many of us are afraid to really look in the mirror and really look and see ourselves, not the mental image that we have of ourselves, but who we actually really are, without all the filters, so to speak, without all the add-ons, just the bare naked who we are, right? You need to look at that person because the reality is, if you cannot accept where you are, If you cannot accept who you really are, you're a fool for thinking anybody else will be able to accept you. If you can't stand your own company, why in God's earth would you think anyone else will be able to stand your company? No. You don't like you. Shoot. Can't expect other people to like you either because you yourself have validated that you are not worth the effort. So you need to see where you are, and then you need to adopt the mindset of, well, just because I accept who and where I am, that doesn't mean that I'm going to stay there. I want to get better. If you want to get better, then you can be worked with, and you can be salvaged, you can be repaired, you can become whole. A person that doesn't want to get better, you can't do anything with them. And all they're going to do is really keep you in place, probably even drag you down as well. That happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If you have someone that's willing to improve and are willing to be transparent with you, and you are the same, there's a very good chance that you two can be a great match for each other and really uncover something wonderful. There's going to be some struggles there coming in the gate, but if you can get past those, working together, improving yourselves with the help of one another, you can form an amazing relationship that is going to be legendary. It will stand the test of time because you start off on a firm, solid foundation and you literally built that up from the ground floor. Um, but that only happens if we can accept who we are, be real with ourselves, and then be transparent with the people we're seeking to build with. Um, I land my hover plane.
Dope. Phenomenal show tonight. Thank you so much for everybody tuning in. And don't forget, next week we have Dr. Katina. She's going to be with us, also a nurse practitioner. With COVID numbers and escalating, they said it's supposed to be escalating in a couple more months. So make sure you tune in next week. Ask all the health questions you need to ask. Get that information out. And it's free. You don't have to sit down in the doctor's office and pay a co-payment. You're going to get all that information free. So tell a friend to tell a friend. Join us next week. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And make sure you guys meet up with us next week for another phenomenal show. All right. Peace out, family. Be easy.
Night. Yay.
Let's up.
On the album, we do things like songs that are a little, what we call sexy. You can see from the title, it's more of a love album.